today. Been a good day there. Thank you to everybody today. Thanks to Randy for the coffee. It's great to have Ramin back. Thank you, Bears vs. Bulls, Fabian, and everybody. All right.
Before we I'd say one thing. There was a lot of questions about silver. I know I mentioned it in the chat to a couple of people. Silver failing that breakout from last week, but it just bounced off of prior close. So I'm looking at this one right now for a hold of a higher low. We like a gap fill back into prior close. Some people might be looking at PAS, Pan American Silver, but I'm looking at SLV, trending back to the downside after breaking out on the daily chart. Big break for silver, but I wanted to hold on to this 3060. If it can put in a higher low, I'm looking long into this current bottom. Silver, big time break. It's kind of trying to squeeze to the upside. That's what happened on Friday, but that's what we're looking for. So we're going to go over to the midday. Shout out to Sharif and Joseph. Go get them, boys.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That's your boy, Joe. And I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream. There we go. We got the world's greatest mod, baby. Good morning to you. Adara's in the chat, ready to go. Shout out to Matthew Booth and Botrix. Shout out to JF Trader. Yes, here we go. It is that Monday. It looks to be a good day on these here markets. So let's get pumped up. Hello, Pitchbull. Hello, Ronaldo, man. Jinder Manny. Get it, man. We got the one. We got Why Not, the OG Goref, Cesar Sandoval. I don't think I've yelled that in a hot minute. Stock Up, Ron, Other, Zinc, and MB3 joining us as well. Shout out to Nimit, the OG small cap gapper trader. Get it, Nimit. We're going to be doing our thing today in the chat. Mary L, Milky Fade, Juan Padilla. We got Robert Query and Maxi Jr., Chris Ive and Ruth C. Shout out to Brenda. Playboy is up, and I didn't even know this thing was a penny stock. I was looking at the Joe. I'm like, yo, is this thing gonna be around next year? What's going on?
I don't know. Hugh Hefner is looking like he's almost time to tap out there.
I think he tapped.
Did he tap?
He tapped. Yeah, he tapped. God bless his soul. He's tapped. Yeah.
He
tapped. He tapped a minute ago, Joe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his house is still there. The Playboy Mansion is still going.
Oh, yeah, I think his son took over, didn't he?
He did, I think
so.
Something like that.
That's it, right? So
shout out to everybody. Dave BK Debs, hashtag Nikki V, and Brandon Cooper. Shout out to JD roaring on 20s. I like that. Willie Zavaleta. I like that. Reminds me of Pablo Zabaleta, the guy that used to play for Manchester City. I'm not neither here nor there. Good morning, Joe. How's it going, man?
Good, brother. Good, brother.
How was that weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Nice, relaxing. A little kids' birthday parties.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah.
Nice. Fantastic.
That's it. How about you, brother?
Nice.
How was yours?
Weather was ridiculous.
Great,
What's going on here?
Yeah, hey. Global warming.
I'm not going to, I know. I was going to say I'm not going to complain, but, well, all right, guys. Anything you want to mention, Joe, before we weasel into the lesson?
We'll touch, Sharif, you know how it goes. We like to touch on something real quick before we hop into the lesson, guys. And just look at the overall markets here, all right? Let's see what everything's doing from a daily perspective. We got XLF down a little bit here. We got XLC. The only somewhat green one right now is still the tech sector. Consumer discretionary down a bit on the day. Same with the energy and the consumer staples. So that is highly reflective of how the overall markets are moving. As you can see, the Qs are down just under 0.5% so far on the session. And same are the SPY about 0.5%, and the Qs about 0.3% down on this session. Brother, what do we got going on for lessons today?
We're going to continue with gaps, Joe. We're going to talk about the most bamboozling of all the gap types, those common gaps that close super quick. And usually they don't mean a hell of a lot, but they trap traders. And that's all we're going to talk about them today and try to, possibly avert getting into them and some of the things to look at there. So here we go. Traders, today we're focusing on the most frequent gap type, AKA the common gap. While they might not be as dramatic as those breakaway gaps or those exhaustion gaps, understanding them is essential for effective technical analysis. So let's get right down to it, as we always do. Let's explain the terms in the most basic way so we can get everybody who's joining us anew on board. Common gaps, as their name suggests, of course, are the most frequent types of the gap on the price chart. They occur due to various reasons, including news events, economic data releases, or just your run-of-the-mill market fluctuations. But unlike the breakaway or the exhaustion gaps, common gaps are known to fill relatively quickly. Hence, if you get in, you can find yourself getting stopped out quick as you like. And here's what they look like IRL. We're whiffling, we're waffling. Then something, whatever reason, comes up overnight, I don't know how to speak English, making us gap up. I'll get it, guys. Making us gap up. Now, the point is, we don't really know exactly why sometimes these things are gapping up. It could be a generic news item for the overall economy, or, and this one is the one that gets a lot of people in trouble, when a sympathy play is gapping up, and this specific instrument, which is moving in sympathy, gaps up, but the news is not related to it specifically. So what you have is a close the next day as the trade windows down, right? Because you're trading it in sympathy. You're not necessarily buying it or investing in it in sympathy. Big difference there, okay? So what are some of the characteristics of common gaps? Well, they got specific size and volume characteristics. So common gaps typically exhibit smaller price differences between the previous close and the opening price, which we know is how we measure the gap. The previous day's close and the next day's open. And then we're judging the space between that close and that open, obviously in terms of price. So it has a smaller price difference between the previous day's close and the next day's open. Additionally, trading volume that accompanies these common gaps generally a little bit lower than that of the breakaway or that of the exhaustion gaps. But there's also gap fill speed, and this is what's specifically characteristic to them. While not a definitive characteristic by any means, common gaps often fill within a shorter time frame than some others, sometimes even within the same trading session. So the whole point of telling you about these ones is to avoid you getting into them so that you don't have your position filled and get stopped out, or at worst, lose big boy money. The price action is also a little bit different with respect to common gaps and some of the other gaps. Unlike breakaway or exhaustion gaps, which often signal significant price movements, common gaps are followed by price action that tends to revert towards the previous price range. So we'll have a look at that in a second. And there's also the technical indicators you should be looking out for here in order to distinguish these common gaps from others. Volume indicator, you should be looking for low volume accompanying the gaps, which can reinforce the idea of a common gap. So that's important because last week we talked about those breakaway gaps actually requiring above average volume for them to be legitimate. In this case, you're looking for, average volume or even below average volume. You're definitely not looking for that volume bar on the gap day to stand out, okay? That's not what you're looking for there. Should also keep your eye on the oscillators, right? Indicators like the RSI, the stochastics. They might show you a neutral or slightly overbought, oversold, depending on whether you're going long or short. Reading suggesting to you a temporary price imbalance rather than a significant trend change. And last but not least, with respect to TA, technical indicators, moving averages should exhibit relatively unchanged slope, indicating to that bamboozlement, right? So you're looking at what the other TA is saying. If the other TA is not pointing to a trend change or a breakout or a breakdown, you should be a little bit suspicious. And this is what we're talking about common gaps. I mean, look at this consolidated period. There's umpteen amount of gaps. I've denoted all of them with arrows, right? And all of them had the exact same result. What is that? Getting filled shortly thereafter. And this is definitely not something you want to be a part of, okay? So common gaps, the bamboozlers in chief. And sometimes, the common gap can be even a little bit wider, but look how quick as you like we got filled, okay? So why do common gaps occur? We kind of mentioned this briefly at the beginning. News and economic data, for example, unexpected news or unexpected economic data releases can cause temporary price fluctuations resulting in those common gaps. But there's also shifts in the market sentiment that can cause common gaps as well. You know, those sudden changes in market sentiment due to rumors, speculations, other factors. Perhaps we're not getting the 25 bips where we thought we were getting, or perhaps maybe we're getting 50. Remember that whole debacle last time where the market was pricing in 25 and we ended up getting 50. So things like that, unexpected changes in the market can cause these bad boys. And trading halts as well. I mean, that's more of an intraday thing. Sometimes halts extend past the day. But, you know, these are definitely the exception, not the rule. Trading halts due to circuit breakers or other reasons can create common gaps when trading resumes. But I want to pause here for a second and mention the special case of Chinese American Depository Receipts, ADRs for short. Because of how they trade and because of the fact that they're traded heavily during the pre-market from that 4 a.m. onward, because there's interest from Asian investors buying U.S. equities, and that's when they weasel in, you're going to have a lot of gaps, uncharacteristically so, for some of the, you know, related market cap names that, like, for example, in Alibaba. You know, you're not going to see this many gaps on a Boeing or, well, maybe not Boeing, but you know what I mean, on a related name, okay? And it's specific to the, you know, the unique situation of these Chinese ADRs that you're going to have a lot of gaps. And, you know, sometimes they are valid and sometimes they're just a lot of noise. So I just want to point that out because Chinese ADRs typically gap a lot more than their counterparts. Just moving on with the lesson here, we're almost done. Trading common gaps. How do we get into these bad boys? While common gaps might not offer significant trading opportunities because of the fact that they get filled super quick, understanding them is crucial, though, for overall market analysis. Here are some key points. Avoid chasing these gaps, especially if they don't tick all the boxes. I'm not going to go into what all the boxes are because there's different types of gaps, and trading them each is a specific endeavor to that type of gap. I talked to you guys last week about breakaway gaps. There's specific techniques to trade that, okay? So basically, avoid chasing them. Identify areas of support and resistance as well. Even though common gaps fill, they can temporarily create new support and resistance levels that you need to be aware of, especially on an intraday basis. And you should always be considering other factors. Combine this gap analysis that we're giving you here with other technical indicators to form those, make those informed decisions. And so let's just compare some of these common gaps with the other types of gaps, especially to learn how to differentiate them from other types. You can consider the following non-exhaustive list: the gap size and the volume. Common gaps are typically smaller in size and accompany with lower trading volume compared to the breakaway or exhaustion gaps. A large gap with a significant increase in volume is more likely to be a breakaway gap or an exhaustion gap, so you should be on the lookout for that. The price action after the gap, though, is the most operative of these conditions. Common gaps often fill relatively quickly. That is a subjective term, and it's imprecise. What does relatively quickly mean? Intraday, 2 days, 1 week? Each case is going to be a little bit different, okay? What I would say is look for consistent price action after the gap fills. Are you still getting those higher highs and higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows for the short? Or are you getting that kind of rounded top or rounded bottom, indicating to you that that gap fill could be coming? Price action is super important. There's also the trend context, right? Breakaway gaps typically happen after long periods of consolidation or through a breakout level, whether that's an diagonal trend line or a horizontal trend line, 200 on Apple, for example. We talked about that so many times. So breakaway gaps typically break through a previously established resistance or support level, whereas common gaps are, you know, moving like the wind. And last but not least, support and resistance levels, kind of the same thing as a trend, right? Breakaway gaps often break through significant support or resistance levels, while common gaps tend to occur within the existing price range and don't really break away and make new highs or newer lows. Joe, hope everybody prints up multiple storms, and that is the lesson of the day.
Yeah, great stuff, Sharif. You know, I like the gap fill talk anyways, because CrowdStrike was just entering those specific areas, and we were discussing last week too that like, hey, this is a perfect lesson strip because we're looking to execute these type of trades. It's not quite there yet. It kind of rejected the high of the low of this gap fill here today on the daily, about 317. But we're still looking to get into that. It doesn't mean the trade's diminished or we're not going to take it. It just might take a little bit of time, right? As we all know, the overall market is slightly weak today, and that's totally fine. But when the time comes, that's when you start to execute. So don't anticipate, as everybody says in the trading world, participate, all right? So that's just one thing that I want to point out, and I like that, Sharif, that we're talking gaps because we are getting in that gap fill world. So I want to check out one more thing and just show, speaking of gaps, and how Sharif was talking about how all gaps, the majority of them do get filled on really good companies. And here's another example here on CrowdStrike, or sorry, Salesforce. And this was the gap play here, which was absolutely fantastic. And it just filled it recently. So again, guys, pay attention, collect your data, do your due diligence, and then you can see the consistency in what Sharif is talking about is that these gaps do tend to get filled, right? So as long as you're patient, you pack your patience with these, and execute accordingly, there's a trade in between these gaps, right? So if you're really precise, you can set out your orders and say, okay, buy here, sell there, right? And it's that simple. Don't fight it. Don't try to look for more in other cases. Just play that trade, and those things will work out really, really well for you, I think, in the long run there. And Sharif, I don't know if, have you used Toast? Have you used their apps at a restaurant or anything like that?
No.
Toast? Okay, so are you familiar with Toast? So Toast,
heard about them.
Toast is a Josh Brown favorite. Josh Brown, our guy over at Ritz-Holtz, he likes Toast a lot. And I actually got the experience of using Toast at a restaurant over the weekend, which was really cool. So essentially you just order everything through the app, right? So you order your drinks, and then you also pay through the app. So you don't need to wait for servers or anything. They have a QR code with your table number so they know who's ordering what. And then you just scroll through the money. You scan the QR code, and then you can do everything. Easy work, right? So that's a good look. So I was looking at Toast a little bit this morning. It is down pretty heavy off its IPO that happened in 21. But I mean, I can see where Josh Brown's going with that. I think it's going to be really useful.
It's a hell of a rounded bottom is putting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hold on, let me pull that back up for you there. And I mean, starting to slowly curl over there, which is something that you definitely want to see here. We're not making any new lows, which is absolutely fantastic. And then we seem to break support around the 27 level and now are moving to the north side. So I think that's something that's really big and key. And I think a lot of restaurants are going to start to lean that way because it's just super efficient, right? You just put in QR code, you order your food, you order your drinks, and then you're not having that kind of the middleman, the server.
Yeah, think about how much time you're taking off her or his hands.
It's just straight to the kitchen there. So that's loving that. Yeah, it's absolutely really good stuff there. So that's a good look there on Toast, guys. We're here looking at the overall market. I mean, it's pretty weak right now. The Q's are down about 0.5%, giving back all these pre-market gains and that earlier opening auction gains here. As you can see, the volume started to increase, and with that, the continuation to the downside started to increase as well too. So we're down about 0.5% here on the Qs, and we're down about 0.6% on the Spider. All right, so guys, and then we're over here. I was looking at IBIT. I was looking to take some longs on IBIT today to see if we can get that continuation and hold that 70 or 69, 70K level on Bitcoin, but it doesn't seem to be the case this morning. So it wanted to sell a bit. Nothing down crazy, down about 2.25 here, and maybe we start to rebound a little bit. I'm looking for maybe a potential bottom, and it might start to slowly curl over here. A nice rounded bottom here potentially, but we're not gonna force anything on it. We're going to let it come to us, but I think it's starting to do that. So if I can get a pullback into these areas, then I'm going to be sitting real pretty, and then we're going to get some entries based on that one there, guys. So, and yeah, I'm totally still waiting for this thing to be optionable. I mean, it should be only a matter of time until it's going to be on the options chain, which I think a lot of people will be looking forward to, because now you can start actually hedging your positions, and you can be a lot more protective, as you should, when you buy equities within the market, right? You want to be able to have those hedge positions in case you need to protect yourself from any downside. So that's one thing. Yep, down. So, and that's what the market's doing today, Shreve, it is down. And I mean, hey, we're starting to get into the thick of earnings. We got Tesla this week. We have BA this week as well too. So there's some other big reports coming in this week and the week following. So you can expect a little bit of choppiness, I think. NVDA made all-time highs today, and it seems to be holding them pretty well. So we'll see. I think if these reports start flowing in and they start flowing in pretty good, then I think the market might continue to the top side. But we'll see first. I think a lot of analysts are anticipating a little bit of choppiness here, which is exactly kind of what we're seeing, I think, Sharif, from a daily perspective. So let's pull up the cues here, because I think, and it has been lagging its peer, the SPY. But I mean, here we're just, I think, whoa, okay, where am I? Oh, that's the weekly. Hello. So yeah, I mean, we're still there, right? But we still haven't breached this all-time high. We're still lagging a bit, but again, it's 6 straight weeks of positive gains, which is absolutely insane. And it doesn't seem like it really from an intraday perspective, because we've had a couple down days here and there. But other than that, we'll see. And I don't doubt it that as soon as a couple of these guys' reports and these great reports come in, that the Qs are going to break that all-time high, brother.
Yeah, and that's I think what the Nasdaq's got going for it right now. You get a couple of those big reports from the Mag 7.
Yep. Boom, exactly, right? So, and then we can continue north there. So, I mean, hey, in the meantime, now I think this is a time where you start setting up. Well, actually, no, I take that back. But a condor, in the type of price action, a condor are market neutral, but don't have any condors open, guys, during these reports, right? We don't want to get caught in any volatility onslaught, right? So just pack your patience. But when you see this sideways movement on the market, then that's something ideally that you want. So maybe even a weekly, but just hold your horses, because we do have Tesla this week. So,
all right, we got Adara at the big screen. What do you got for us, Adara?
Even more weakness on this board since we last looked at it about 40 minutes ago. Right now, though, this segment is going to focus more on specific S&P 500 names, trading either sharply higher or lower, though. Right now, we're only going to look at names moving lower, and the theme of this is going to be negative analyst notes. We're going to start here with Qualcomm getting a price target decrease from 250 to 230 from Susquehanna. They did maintain a positive rating here for QCOM. Next up, we have UPS. Barclays downgrading this one here to underweight, though they kept a $120 price target. Looks like this one just cracked into a new low of day, down about 2.5% here for UPS. Next up, we do have 2 negative analyst notes here for PLD. First off, we have Prologis getting a downgrade from Goldman Sachs to neutral with a $132 price target. Then we have JP Morgan maintaining overweight but lowering its price target to 131. So couple negative notes here for PLD, which is currently chopping around near lows of days. If these are any other tickers are on your watch and you want to know how Neil and Sean would view these names, take a minute to vote in the chat. !join space $ in your ticker of choice. The top 5 tickers will be featured on our afternoon rundown at 2 p.m. You have until 1:50 to vote.
All right, I'm involved in this name over here. Well, no, I'm not anymore because it just got stopped out. So BIVI got originally in at 534 over here, wet my beak at 555. It did break down, so then I got out for the remaining amount at 520. Added when it dipped back down into 5, almost got filled at that 530, but it continued to break down. So if this one wants to reset at VWAP, it's been putting a whole bunch of lower highs and lower lows, very cognizant of the possible boom, flat bottom break, because we are putting in a descending wedge on BIVI. Shout out to Nimit, who was telling me to check this one out. This one, I don't think I'm done with this one because it looks like it might defend 5. And if it does defend 5, generally, then we'll be back in it. Here are the details. About $40 million market cap with this latest 112% pump. 105 million shares traded on the day, and we got a 37 million share float. Let's check out the short float there on Trade Ideas. And I like how Michael Noss was giving us the days to cover. That is something that we covered on our weekend short float. So BIVI, 7% or thereabouts is the short float. But again, I've got a markedly different number for float vis-a-vis Trade Ideas than I have with my platform. This is saying 3.7. I have 37, so multiple of 10. About 7% though of whatever float is being borrowed here for shorts according to Trade Ideas. So this can become quite aggressive to the top side if we squeeze out the shorts at the right area. And we're still dancing with 5. I mean, you broke it on a strike basis, but you still got some buying and selling. But as you can see, you're breaking down to the low 90s now. If that's going to be the look, then I want no smoke. It's going to have to work its way right back above that area. This was a halter initially, guys. This bad boy halted, I believe, at 9:53 for a period of 5 minutes. I don't want to misspeak. I just want to tell you guys how many times this is halted. It's halted once to the upside. So that's not bad. It's not too bad of a look. What I didn't like about it, looking into it, was the descending wedge look. But I did like the fact that it was above VWAP when I got in, but now it is below. So we're going to let that one do its thing, 25, and we'll see what we'll get there. GNPX. Everybody's looking at this one because it's the #1 gap scan or gapper du jour, baby. It's got a really big, huge market cap at 4.685 million shares. It's traded 155 million shares on the day, with the float being about 2 million shares. This is a multiple halter. Let's look at the 1 minute over here, and I can give you an idea. Let's count this together, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 halts. Mostly up halts. It's well above the volume weighted average price. It's doing the dance right now with the 10 and the 20, so it's still bullish. I don't necessarily like these ones because they're super hard to get in and get out. We'll talk more about them when we get back from Adair at the big desk.
We actually have another small cap on watch here worth noting, VSEE. This is VC Health. It has run in the past. Looks like we did a nice move up here as well on Friday, and it's getting 2 of its largest volume candles on the day. This morning they did announce they're going to be integrating these GLP-1 prescription medicines as part of their launching of their specialized obesity program. So VSEE, one of many GLP-1 related names here. It's worth noting we have a market cap of about $32.4 million, pretty small market cap, float of 5.2 million shares, and it's worth noting insider owned, almost 66%. So large percentage insider owned here for VSEE if you're looking at any other small caps here, guys.
Small cap gappers, keep bringing them. Adair, thank you for that. Yep. Didn't have an eye on that. VSEE just reclaimed VWAP, ladies and gents, and that could be a good one if it wants to hang out above there. So we're going to remove Playboy for now. And if it wants to do anything other than sell off, then we'll look at it later. But here's a look at VSEE. This one really had its move after market on Friday, Joe. Got up off that $1 and 2/3. It weaseled up into $3, and then it sold off into 8 p.m. Had its little dance there in the pre. This morning it's got a definable pre-market high, guys. So thank you for bringing us Adair. $2.88 printed at 4 a.m. I'd love something above there. In fact, let's actually follow our plan. Let's go ahead and put an alert approaching that pre-market high, because if this bad boy wants to get above the pre-market high, I will absolutely, definitely look to trade this. Absolutely, definitely look to trade this. Yeah, as inconclusive as it gets. VSEE, Joe, looking good here, man. What are you looking at?
That's good stuff there. We're just looking over here at IBIT and OKLO, actually. We were looking at OKLO last week, and it's hovering right around the volume-weighted average price, which we really like, right? So we'll see if this thing can get going. We're just about a little over 9% on the session. It popped up on the scanner today, so up about $1.70 on the session, and continues to look like it's going to hold strong here. I mean, from a daily perspective, this thing's been absolutely monstrous the past week, especially after this volume started to step in. It had this slight consolidation candle and then continued again to the top side. So we'll see if OKLO can hold below VWAP here and then slowly start to curl over, and then maybe we can start looking for longs from that perspective. Did a little test trade here on IBIT here. But again, it's not doing what I want to. The market was selling a little bit, so we're gonna just hold on, and I think we can start curling over a little bit here, which I think we are. So maybe I am going to test the waters, but the primary trend is to the downside, and I don't necessarily want to fight that too much, right? So if it's gonna continue moving south and not curl over a little bit more, we might have to pick up the time frame and go from a 1 to a 3. And I think that's one thing, a key metric to kind of point on, is that as you get later in the session, the momentum starts to fizzle out a little bit, right? So you might want to go from the lower time frames to something that's a little bit higher up so you can kind of phase out a little bit of that noise, right? Because it can get to you, especially when things start to get a little bit grindy in the lunchtime hours, sorry. And one thing I want to point out though is that Adara mentioned it this morning. I heard her mention it, that Bitcoin was making an engulfing candle. And that's relatively true, right? As you can see, we didn't quite hold 70 and we didn't break this previous pivot here. And then we rejected really, really heavy off of that, pretty much that 70K level, which is something to keep an eye on, right? Because are we going to continue to the north side? Because if we are, I want to see these levels broken and then those levels held with conviction and used as something that was once resistance is now support, all right? So that's something to keep an eye on. I mean, this is still totally healthy, but at some point throughout the day, I'm going to look for buyers to step back in on this one, guys. So yeah, hey, and let us know what you're looking at in the chat. Someone said Coinbase is dumping, BTC fake out, 62K inbound. So it sounds like there's some bearish people in the chat here with the Bitcoin asset, and that's totally fine. So if it is continuing to the downside, I mean, it did look like it started to curl over a little bit. And then maybe eventually in the near future, it can continue to that north of 74. But as of now, the Qs are still slowly grinding to the downside, just continuing to make some new lows and just totally gave up everything that it produced in the pre-market and in the opening hour or so. So again, I don't know if a bottom's going to be found eventually, but I think something. I mean, the volume's starting to dwindle a little bit. But the one thing to keep an eye on, Sharif, is how that volume was stair-stepping to the top side as we continued to the downside. So the volume was picking up as we were declining. So that can be something that is referred to as a genuine move, and that the sell program is there and in full effect. But guys, you know what? I think I'm gonna start my position here in IBIT. I'll let Sharif deal with everything. Yeah, what do you got going on there, brother?
I'm weaseling into Wolf over here for a 10-period retracement. Let's see how this one works out. Haven't gone over all the small cap gappers, so let's do that. So we've already mentioned BIVI and GNPX. Adara mentioned VSEE. We've also got CUE, but this is breaking down now below the volume weighted average price, so don't really want to do it this one. Qubit, QUBT, is at VWAP right now, but it's not giving you much in the way of movement. And it's got umpteen amount of topping tail candles at VWAP. Look, if it wants to hold VWAP, it can print as many topping tail candles as it wants, as long as it holds the level, because we can work back off that level. Right now, VWAP is about $1.07 on my chart. Not much in the way of a mover today, so I might stay away from this one. NUWE was looking okay until it put this monster topping tail candle on right at the top of the show. It's at VWAP right now, but it's not the biggest mover, so I'm not inclined to want to trade it. I'm in WULF. I made that point. This one is looking decent at the deeper retracements. It's showing that it wants to hold up at the 20. The more shallow retracements, at least on a per candle basis, seem to hold up at the 10 exponential in case you're a newer viewer and don't know which lines depict what on my charts. The green line will be the 10, the yellow will be the 20, white is the volume weighted average price, the 50 is the red, and the blue is the 200. They are all exponential. None are simple. So that's the look there. Donald John Trump wants to work off that low that it weaseled into there. What time was that? 11:05, right at the top of the show, 29.70. Now we're knocking on the door of 30.70, which is exactly where the volume weighted average price is hanging out on DJT. It got right into that pre-market low on this ugly hammer candle here that we put in at 11:05 into that 29.70. That was the pre-market low where we basically found support the entire pre-market. we are working into a tougher level of resistance right now vis-a-vis the volume weighted average price. Let's see if we can work our way above that. If we can, then we're looking at a 31 break and take, and we'll see where this one wants to go. But it's already green on the day, about 3.5 points right now, 3.5%, I should say, excuse me. So we'll see if this one wants to work up. Now, I'm watching VSEE intently. Why? Because it put a really good 2-candle pattern to break and take VWAP and weasel up into that 2 kind of almost 50 area. But it put in a bit of an aggressive reversal candle. But look at that reversal candle, literally getting bought up, and the entire candle now is composed of a bottom wick if it closes like this. Now, I'm still not very, interested in getting into it here. I'll be a lot more interested if we get above that 255, because that was kind of one of the pre-market highs. I'll be very interested in it, obviously, if it breaks the pre-market high at 288. Because that's where we put in the top there at 4:50 a.m. and it was on good volume. So let's not just dismiss the fact that because it printed at 4:50 a.m. it doesn't really matter. No, that candle had about 750,000 shares more printed on that 1 5-minute candle. So we'll pack our patience here, see if we can weasel into to any of these trades. Joe, VSEE on watch. What are you looking at?
Yeah, that's good stuff here. We're in TQQs here now, Sharif. And we're also in some BTC. Somebody in the chat said, I think 2 cents New York City said something. He's like, hey, Joe, NVIDIA for a possible short. I said, well, this is the way I look at it, right? So while the overall market was selling Sharif, NVIDIA was holding these specific levels fairly strong, right? It wasn't selling with the overall market. So I said, okay, when I see something like this, that there's some relative strength in this underlying asset. So I would look for specifically a long, especially after the market continued to sell how it was, and NVDA held those levels. That means there might be some strength in there. So look for the continuation on the top side with that one. And that's exactly what I am doing. So I'm also in TQQs and IBIT. We're going to see if we can get these moves back towards the volume weighted average price. NVDA, we're starting to crawl a little bit higher. Let's see if we can start to turn around a little bit here and decide that we want to pull back. I mean, if we break 73.20 on TQQs, then I'm out of the trade. I'm not going to hold on to this a little bit. I'm not going to try to hold on to a falling knife. But I think we might pull back a little bit here now. The price action seemed to slow down a little bit. And then Odyssey Flights, I was looking at 1 DTE spot. Yeah, and I seen that you mentioned a 0.5 delta. And that's how I kind of figured you're looking at something at the money, right? Because when you get to those 0.5 deltas, that's usually what it is. And I mean, hey, 581, not horrible. 0 DTE, you're not giving yourself much time on that one there, Odyssey. But I mean, hey, if you think you see your setup, then go for that setup, but just make sure you implement any stop loss procedures. I'm assuming you didn't pay much for the contract considering it's 0 DTE, but that's okay. Just still make sure that you have those stops in place and that you mitigate your risk to the downside, because that's something that we always have to keep in mind. It's just trading, right? It's not always up in glorious days. So when we're having those down days, we absolutely need to make sure that we mitigate that risk. Oh, thanks for changing your plan. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no problem, Trader. I've been working on that one. You guys have been giving me a hard time about it. So we worked on that one just for you.
Man, pronounce how he wants.
Yeah,
like,
hey, man. Hey,
wow.
Man, it's all right. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, good thing you waited. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, not saying that it won't show up, but I'm just that's just the TA on it that I would specifically implement. I'm not going to try to short the strongest stock in the market. That's for sure, brother. So yeah, good luck, good on holding your patience there. And it's looking like the overall market is starting to curl over a little bit. So we're not going to hold on to these positions long. We have our definitive outs, and we're going to stick to them. So we'll stick with that. And yeah, exactly. Stop is a must. So there you go. You seem to know what you're doing. So just keep doing what you're doing, and make sure you have those stop loss implemented for sure, brother. What do you got going on?
I'm in a couple of positions right now. I took some profits here on VSE. I took a smaller position because it was just so strong, blowing through that red hammer candle on the 5 that printed right at 11:30 and made a new high, breaking the $0.50. So I've already wet my beak on some profits. Let's see how that one does. I'm back in WULF because it looked like it was holding up at the 10 exponential. We'll see how this one does. Now I'm really considering punching back into BIVI. That's a 5 candle hold now on the 50 exponential. And there goes VSEE knocking on the door of 260. This took out the high. Shout out to Adair for bringing this one to our attention, guys. That's why she is a human algo. We're going to keep an eye out on that. Now, here's the look. BIVI is still whiffling and waffling, so I don't want to jump into this one too quick. 5-minute candle, 5-minute candle hold up at $5 or not. It's got to show me a little bit more. I'm counting multiple resistance levels here on the way up on BIVI possibly. We've got one at 40 because we were whiffling and waffling there, another one at 60. You're likely going to encounter one at 50, just seeing as there's the 50 penny level there. Let's see if we can print on WULF. We're waiting at 88. Good candle hold up. I'm seeing 87s right now show up on the ask. We got to cross over on the ask. It's not good enough to print your level on the ask. It's got to cross. Now, what does that mean? So if it's printing 88s on this side of the book, that's the ask. That's what people are offering for. Here's how much people are willing to pay. That's the bid. So it's got to cross that for me to get filled. So we'll pack our patience there. We'll pack our patience on all of these right now. I'm still really interested on BIVI, just given how it's been holding up here, Joe.
I like it there. I think I like it there for a turnaround there.
Yeah, I don't mind it here at all, quite frankly. It is breaking one of my rules, though, Joe, by getting in here because it is trading south of VWAP.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you can break the rules. Rules are made to be broken a little bit, you know, as long as they're not too bad. But what are you looking at over there, buddy?
Hey, we're still holding this TQQs, and unfortunately, it's starting to work out. Work out for us really nice. So I think we're going to get VWAP here shortly. We might have to get out our IBIT trade because if it breaks the low, then we might be in some trouble, but we don't want to get in any trouble. We're going to hold on to things that are working for us, and that is exactly the TQs. We're going to talk more TQs right after we get back from Adara.
Time to look at some of these earnings names on watch here. What we'll do is take a look at day one earnings plays or names that are reporting later. We don't really have any day one to talk about as of right now. So we're going to talk about one name reporting after the close tonight. That's going to be SAP or SAP. This name was mentioned by Dan Ives of Wedbush as one of many AI plays that's really likely to be on watch here with this earnings season. He also named Oracle, ServiceNow, Palantir, Salesforce, Dell, and IBM, amongst others. IBM and ServiceNow also reporting later this week. But for SAP, which is reporting estimated here at 4:05 p.m., analysts are looking for $1.31 per share for earnings and revenue of $9.26 billion. So keep an eye on SAP tonight. Other earnings on watch for this week, we have Tesla reporting after the bell on Wednesday. I'm seeing an estimate of 4:10 p.m. as of right now. Bit of a double top here on the daily chart. Continued resistance at 260 to be aware of, as well as some continued support in the past. Support and resistance around that 205 level. So some levels on the daily chart to be aware with TSLA. Also Boeing, BA. This one's actually been on watch today with some news with regards to its machinist strike and some new orders coming out of the Emirates. It's worth noting we had a lot of support and resistance around this 163 level, which we had a bit of a wick into earlier today before rejecting. So 163 could be a level to watch for BA ahead of its earnings before the open on Wednesday. Analysts are looking for losses of $8.70 per share. So $8.77 per share loss for BA. They're looking for revenue of $19.25 billion. If these or any other tickers are on your mind, go in the chat and vote, !join, space, $, and your ticker of choice.
Very much Adara. I was just telling him how a buddy of mine, he works at one of the local news channels that we have in Toronto called CP24. And he was reporting on the Boeing debacle, let's call it that. And he's like, the machinists are on strike.
The machinists, the full metal alchemists.
I want to text him bad, like just right then and there, be like, bro, it's machinists. But I guarantee you the producer was lighting him up in his ear too, so he probably heard it.
Yeah, hey man, if I ever pronounce anything,
machinist, says the Chilean Nightmare. We're very sorry to have mispronounced.
Put me on blast when and ever, because I know I definitely will pronounce something wrong. Times, so put me on blast when I do, absolutely, guys. Yeah, we're still here in the TQs. We're holding on to this position, and I mean, NVDA is starting to curl back towards the top side around 141.06. or just under 141, and with that, it's going to drag the overall market up with it too. So as long as NVDA continues to be strong, I think that the overall market is going to be strong as well too, especially if its peers start to pick a bit. And I know some other things started to be a little weak, Google and et cetera, some of the Mag 7s there, guys. So we're going to hold on to this position. Hopefully we don't make a new low, and I think we're a little bit in the money here now. So if it does come to our break even, then we'll just we'll get out of this trade for sure, guys. So this is a good look here so far. Maybe I think if we can continue to the top side, because I think this is some pretty hefty selling. We're going to add a little bit here at VWAP, but we'll talk some more stock when we get back from Adara.
Great look for Zim Integrated Shipping, ZIM. This one is actually already strong pre-market. As of right now, it's up about 8% here, holding nice support at that 23.70 level. We did have Maersk raising their fiscal 2024 guidance, another shipping company. So it looks like ZIM having this extra push to the upside in sympathy, near high of days right now, guys.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I saw Parre, P-A-R-R-E, asking, hey, what's going on with Zim? So I pulled it up and I responded to you in the chat. Good look, man. I love these midday updates because they throw the market a bit of a curveball. So let's see how this one does. Yeah. ZIM, it's going to go on the side chart right now, but it's decent, up 8%. Has, I don't know, multiple tops. They're at $24.80. So we'll keep an eye out on that. The Piper, Sharif, stop saying indice. The word is index. Plural is indices. Did I say that today, or are you talking about from a different day? But thank you for updating me.
Indices, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't think it's a wrong word. He's just upset that when we use it in the singular rather than in the plural. For some people, that will really upset them.
Okay,
so
yeah, I
be
can
careful.
understand with the grammatically correct.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to you. Thank you for correcting me, and thank you for always being a great contributor to the show. All right. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
I'm laughing at the chat.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't know. I wasn't laughing at somebody.
So, look, I'm still keeping my eye on BIVI because it keeps holding up at this level over here. And this level is not a random area. This 475 and change level, we interacted with this level multiple times in the pre. We interacted at 530 with a top, and this had good volume. Like, these candles have 600,000, 300,000 shares a pop. And then we interacted with it again right before in fact, at the bell. The 930 top is right there. So BIVI, even though it is south of VWAP, still is enticing me, just based on the fact that it is at an important level. So I think I might punch back into this. I weaseled some profits out of it earlier. It wasn't the greatest trade. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but I'm weaseling into it right now. Come what may, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I've just done. So there it is. So we're going to put our stop in now at whatever level I so please. And there it is. So now I'm going to get stopped out, Joe. It's fantastic.
Sorry. I'm laughing because I'm laughing at someone in the chat. Just some dude says indexes. I can't even pronounce it. It's funny. Indexes. yeah. No, that was a good one. I mean, you guys have got jokes, man, with the grip strength and stuff. So yeah.
Oh God, from last week.
Yeah, that was a good one. So whoever said that was a good one. You're on point with that one, guys. Hey, we're just holding on to some TQs. You know what? I'm going to take a little bit off the top here just because it seems like we're slightly rejecting the volume weighted average price. So we're just going to take a little bit off there, nothing crazy. We still got the bulk of the position. If it decides that it wants to trade up into 74.20s, I would like to see a break and hold of the volume weighted average price, VWAP, and then we get a hold. And then I'm going to add for the continuation, to look for the continuation within the trend there, guys. So, I mean, as of right now, we're pretty strong. NVDA is starting to pick up, and IBIT is starting to roll over. So this is what I was essentially getting at with IBIT. I gave it a couple stabs, but at the end of the day, I don't want to fight this trend. If it wants to sell on the day, I think it's going to. I don't know how much it's going to recover. If we did, then it'd be a lot more simplistic, but unfortunately it's not. But I'm not going to fight the trend on this thing. I'm going to just try to stick with what's hot, and I think that's NVDA and the overall markets, right? We're getting the volatility to step in. We're essentially almost flat on the day, just down about 0.3%, sorry, I should say. And that's nothing hectic. I think the market can recover fairly quick off of that, especially if NVDA and the Mag 7 decide that they want to catch a bid and continue to the top side. So we'll keep an eye on them. And I think NVDA is doing exactly what you want to see it to do, and it's hold 140. So I think this thing can continue higher. Doesn't report until next month, which is totally fine, but we still got some big boys rolling up here, and the Qs are starting to trade a little bit higher here. So we got the TQs coming up around 74. So if we can continue to push towards the volume weighted average price, we're going to look for the break and then the hold for the potential add on that position, brother. But guys, just let us know. Let me know. Hey, if you got on any options positions for the week, I didn't do any spread week work this weekend, so I won't be opening any spreads this week, guys. So, but if you're looking at anything in particular, then let me know. I would love to take a gander at what you guys got going on for the week, right? Yeah. Gander Newfoundland or
calm down there, Mr. Geography. I like that.
Yeah, Gander Newfoundland. Good
you ever
play.
watch that show Come From Oh, Fabian, bro, take it easy over there. You're taking the words out of my mouth, man.
To the punch. No, I've never seen it. What is it?
It's actually really good. It's about 9/11 when all the airplanes had to get grounded. So they sent a bunch to Canada, and there was a former World War II base where all the bombers would take off and then go and do their largest Canadian airport at the time, just because it had to accommodate all the World War II bombers and whatever, so they had to land there. But like the city as it was 20 years ago or 25 years ago, there's like a few thousand people. So they all had to take in all the thousands of people that were landing into their homes. Typical Newfie fashion, you know what I mean?
So,
good people.
Guys, I worked with a bunch of Newfies back in the day. Some of the funniest people you'll ever meet on the planet, and they're absolutely
great people.
Absolutely great people.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Newfies are kind of like I don't know, what would the American comparison be of Newfies? Anybody help me out here?
Like Louisiana or something. Right? I think that the Southern boys, right? I would think so. They're more like the Southern boys.
It's like Southern comfort, like Southern hospitality a little bit.
That's
kind of
exactly
like
what they are.
Right?
So maybe like the Texans and stuff like that, right? So they're really kind and absolutely hilarious people. They like the wobbly pops. They get into the beer and stuff like that too. So they
I'm an islander.
Have you ever been to St. John's?
I haven't, man. I have never been to the Maritimes of Canada, man. I really want to go. Like it's an unexplored territory.
It's really nice. Yeah, I went to the French island there, St. Pierre, Miquelon, back in the day. Yeah, it was fun.
That's where it's actually France.
It's actually France.
You need they're actually French citizens.
When we were going there, everybody was puking on the boat and stuff, so it was a good time, right? And they keep it like European style too, where everything closes.
Everything. It's like European license plates. They use the euro.
Yeah,
right?
Everything closes at lunchtime for a couple hours.
Europeans work very hard.
Take a nap,
very hard.
which is really nice. So, but guys, listen, the Qs are absolutely ripping to the top side, Sharif. And I don't know if we're going to take a little bit off here just yet, but we want to add into this position because it's working. So we want to get a little bit more into things that are working. But what do you got going on so far?
Dude, I got to mention this because everybody's yelling about it. IVP. Okay. It's huge. It's moving up big boy over here. It was not on my scanner vis-a-vis the price. This one started off its life at 25 pennies. It is now knocking the door of 85. There is a bit of a two-candle top, and you know how I feel about when the price action gets extended away from the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. It's an informal gauge that I use with these small cap gappers to determine overbought and oversold conditions. Mostly it's overbought because I nary do I short one of these guys. So IVP 84, 85-ish double top here. It's very attractive to me at 60 cents. A couple of reasons. One, we have a 3-candle holdup in and around 60 pennies. 2, the 10 exponential is right at 60. But if experience is going to guide me here, we don't always make our way down into that key area of previous technical resistance. The money fills usually are a little bit above or a little bit below. It's going to be your kind of guess. So I'm going to front run it. I'm going to put it maybe at 62.5 pennies. And come what may, it's trading at 72 right now. Here's the 1 minute on it, just to show you guys what the 1 minute look is. It's awfully strong. This is the 60 penny area I'm talking about. I'm sure you guys can understand why I'm looking there because of this area hold up right here. So shout out to you guys for bringing this to my attention. I didn't have eyes on IVP. Now I do, and it is going to replace one of these crap small cap gappers that's doing bupkis on the day. So IVP goes on the side chart because it's earned its way on, Joe. And we're going to keep an eye out on this one. Separately, I have a couple of trades to report. We wet our beak here on some profits at BIVI, but I'm awfully concerned about this $5 constant rejection over here. So we'll keep tabs on that. Separately, I'm doing real well over here on WULF. We're knocking the door of $6. I got in at 580. I wet my beak at 590. I'm looking for this one to continue up. Seems like this is a higher low, higher high situation. And, maybe get in on the dips until you get that big boy rejection. Did I give you guys the deets on Wolf? If I didn't, no, I didn't. Okay, so this is a $2.25 billion market cap. It's not a small cap gapper. It's traded decent amount of shares on the day, about 30 million so far, and it has a float, a larger one, about 228,000 share float. Let's bring down trade ideas and look at the short float. 14.5%, and there's some confluence here between the float on my program and Trade Ideas, so that's good. 14.57% says Trade Ideas is the short float on WULF, so we'll keep tabs on that, no question about it. We're in it, so we better keep tabs on it. What's going on over there, Joe?
Our Apple, one of our favorite, is buzzing to the top side, up about 0.5% on the day.
There's news on that, by the way.
There's news on it. So that's something really big for the market. Sharif and I like it when Apple is buzzing.
Love it.
Then the portfolios are buzzing, and the boys are buzzing with that when it comes out. So it's just a buzzing party, really. So, but yeah, sorry, continue.
No, thank you for reminding me this, because I want to ask Adara if she brought this to our attention earlier, guys. There's plenty of news on the dead one today, mostly out of JP Morgan. My friend Jeremy Diamond today chiming in on AAPL, saying iPhone 16 availability track shows improved demand vis-a-vis JP Morgan. They're talking about iOS 18.1 to roll out next week. Are we going to get some, AI features on the 18.1? I was talking to my man Katina, man. He's like, yo, don't expect any AI stuff for the iPhone until the spring. We'll see. We'll see about that. So 18.1, the iOS 18.1 include the company's first installment of Apple Intelligence features such as the writing tool, notification summaries, and cleanup in the iPhone app. That's not good enough, bro. There are also several non-Apple Intelligence features included in the update, according to a report by 9 to 5 Mac. The software update is expected to be made public on the 28th, so in exactly a week from now. The dead one having itself a big boy day. Well, not big boy, it's up 0.5%, but it's better than the overall market. The NQ down 0.17, so there's always a good look when that happens, Joe. Yeah. We're still in those two positions, doing nothing right now on BIVI, but the other one here is the one that I'm more optimistic about, WULF. It is now on the way to breaking through 6. Did we get into the high of the day? 599 HOD on WULF. We'll have to see if this one breaks, Joe.
Yeah, Apple is still continuing to get roared to the top side, and with that is NVDA. So, one thing, Sharif, and I think we were talking about this last week, and we're going to talk a little bit more, but it's Microsoft. And why is Microsoft lagging its peers? But right after we talk with Adara.
Still looking here for more information on that Apple JP Morgan story. Thank you, Sharif, for bringing that to our attention. Apple pushing higher here. It's also worth noting I'm seeing some unsubstantiated rumors circulating around here on social media that AAPL and TSLA potentially on watch here. TSLA working apparently on a native Apple Watch app. So I'm going to look for more information on that. But again, rumor as of right now. So AAPL, couple potential smaller stories on watch here, guys.
You're going to drop the Law and Order. Yeah, it's slightly biased. I think, Adara, what do you think of that? The Law and Order dun after every time you drop hotlines. I think it suits really well.
I think she should be good with that.
Yeah, I think it's
She
good.
usually reserved it for, legal things.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
all right. Hey,
shout out to the human algo, bro.
Hey, I think everybody in the chat's like it buzzing. Everybody's buzzing apparently right now. The boys are buzzing, says Aaron Scribb. And JD roaring on 20s. No cap, we're buzzing. Okay, and Monty G, we're really buzzing.
Get it, Monty.
So everybody, we need a B now. We need a buzzing B, Fabian. So for when everybody's buzzing. But guys, listen, the cues
It's,
are. There we go. It's a fly.
It's Ram on the ones and twos now. Guys, Ram is back.
She's back.
She's back from the Middle East. So Ram, what was going on over there? A lot. So 50 degrees.
Don't rub it in.
Oh my God.
Don't rub it in.
In October. But you know what it is? It's 50 degrees in October. The temperature was up in Saudi Arabia, and the market is up here, my man, because it's October.
Straight weeks. 3
weeks deep into this month now, Joe.
Hey,
We're 3 weeks
over.
deep.
It just flies by, my friend.
Ram has returned, though.
Flies by. So, yeah, other than that, we're still holding on to some TQs here. I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback. I wish I got a little bit in. I wish I added here on this ABC. We had this little brief consolidation candle right here on the 5, and then we continued to make that other leg up. But what I'm looking for here is, as long as we don't come to the break-even point, if we can hold 74, just a little south of 74, then we're going to absolutely add on to this position, guys. So, Greg, I see you in the chat. Greg, my buddy Greg has been absolutely on fire as of recent. Yeah, he's been absolutely on fire as of recent, showing me his trades and stuff. So good to him, man. He's been in the game for a while. So there we go. But we're going to talk some more stock right after we get from Neil.
We're going to go. Been a pretty exciting morning here for these markets. Initially, we were down, and we came back up, then we came all the way back to the downside before trying once again to push higher. S&P 500 at a fascinating level here. If you look at this 15-minute chart, we've had some resistance going back to last Wednesday. Now there's some support from earlier today around this 582.50 level. We actually rejected it for now on a wick basis. Let's see if we can push this 582.50 as we head into the midway point of this midday session. We have comments from Fed's Kashkari at watch at 1 p.m. We call him Fed's Crash Kari from time to time, so we know he can move the markets. Stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys know if we see any news coming from that or those comments, that speech. Again, in about an hour from now. We had some comments earlier from Fed's Logan saying that she's looking for gradual rate cuts if we have the economy meeting the forecast, but saying the Fed will need to be, quote, nimble with regards to the monetary policy choices that it's making. So a lot more, again, after that kind of surprising 50 basis point cut that we got in September. Now we're about a month removed from that. We continuously have Feds making comments. They're looking for a bit more gradual cuts in the future. Keep an eye here on ZIM. ZIM integrated shipping was a bit of a midday mover here. This one moving in sympathy with Maersk, which did update its Q3 2024 guidance, and they raised its guidance here for fiscal 24. So it's worth noting here, ZIM has a short float of just under 16%. Boeing still in watch here as it's trying to curl back to the upside, just cracking into 160 or reclaiming 160 as of right now. Some news with regards to a potential end for its machinist strike. And they also have some more orders from the Emirates. So keep an eye on all these tickers. If there's any you're looking at, vote for them in the chat. !join, space, $sign, and your ticker of choice. Sean and Neil will look at the top 5 tickers, and you have until 1:50 to vote. For now, though, we're going to get some comments from Neil over here in his lesson of the day.
Lesson of the day, how to properly pronounce machinist here. Machinist. Every time someone says machinist, I just hear Sharif go, machinist. Actually, what I wanted to get into today is a lot of people and a lot of traders like to look at moving averages. Specifically, maybe you do so on a daily chart or a weekly chart or a higher time frame chart. And you might have a stock which is giving you an indication off a major moving average. Now, the example I'm going to use here is Microsoft in the 50 period. Look at it kind of just hugging on to that 50 period moving average on the daily. Essentially, you can tell by these wicks, rejecting breaks above the 50 period moving average, rejections above each time. Now, the tricky part where you have something like this, okay, well, how do you structure a trade on your 3-minute or intraday as a day trader off of your major moving average? Because oftentimes, and this is almost always true, that line that you've got, whether it's a simple, exponential, doesn't really matter. It's very unlikely on the actual day that this line on the daily chart is going to just end up being, oh, that's the top. That's the spot where you just wait for it to get to that price. You just get in exactly where this line happens to intersect, whatever day it is. You can't really use it that way. I'm going to give you some examples of how you can use something like this. And in a general sense, the observation here is Microsoft is not trading very far away from the 50 period moving average. but it is rejecting above the 50-period moving average. And most of the trade the last couple of weeks has been underneath. As you can tell, the body of the vast majority of these candles is underneath the 50-period. So it's a simple concept here where, what does that look like? Well, you just here favor shorts underneath the 420. Now, it doesn't give you an entry price on a day like today, but what it does tell you is if we don't hold above $420, then you want to look for a short trend on Microsoft because it's been spending the bulk of each of these days underneath the 50-period moving average. So is it underneath? Answer being yes. Now, there's a couple of trades you can obviously make here, the easiest of which, low-hanging fruit, right at 8:30, it tries to break and go green. The stock literally closed at 418.16. The high right here is 418.10 or so. So essentially it pulls in the prior high and rejects to the downside. Now, obviously, that's just one entry point. But if you're looking for shorts, keep in mind, this is usually a bullish setup. They'll break at the low of the day and break out the high. That's usually a bullish setup. But if you're playing the short because it's underneath that 50-period moving average, then you might actually like that short setup. Now, what I would generally prefer, and something that we did in another stock, is just the trend trade. Once you find that it's trying to show you, again, a bullish setup, fail break at low, higher low, it then breaks the trend. Now, remember, underneath $420, you like the short. It's a simple mean reversion trend trade. And again, the fact that it's under the 50 period is just giving you a reason to look short. It's not giving you an entry to that short position. So sure, you can look short off the previous close. Maybe you would have also been waiting for it to get to the previous day high, or simply a trend reversal. If it looked like the market wanted to go up, you like it short till 420, you wait for it to indicate some kind of a trade for you. And if it doesn't, you don't necessarily have to take it. Now, what we can also look for on a higher time frames, and I'll get to Mara right here, is sometimes that resistance or big level or whatever it might be is something that hasn't been tested yet. So you've got the 200 period moving average here on something like Mara, just above $19. You had a resistance level at $19 prior to it. You had Bitcoin sort of failing off at the top. Now this is a trickier one. You can see I actually had a trade in Mara that didn't work out, and I'll get to that in a second. But again, you're looking at that line, which is the 200 period moving average. It's actually above 19 even. So generally speaking, it almost needs to break out that high. Now, fine, I actually kind of liked it if it was going to break out above that top because you'd be breaking the 200 period moving average. But much like Microsoft, it just never even gets to that level. Microsoft didn't get to 420. Mara didn't get to 19 even. So this sets you up, never gives you the trade off of the prior high. Never gives you the trade off of essentially the previous close, at least not if you were waiting for it to get to that price. All it does is flat bottom break. So it really only gives you a couple of ways to trade it, one of which I had, the other of which I didn't. And that's to look for, again, previous key price levels. Pre-market low, short back into pre-market low. Now that doesn't end up a fade. Or there is your prior high, the day that it lost 19 even. Your prior high was about 18.5. Now you've got yourself a bit of a resistance level. And again, it just gives you a spot to look for when you are rejecting that 50 period or 200 period moving average. You like it, you want to wait for it to get to that price. What happens if it doesn't get close? You're just looking for the general direction in that case. And then I'll give you one to the long side, which was probably a little bit more clean. Now, this is an example here on AMD where, as I was saying, a lot of times you can't just look at a major moving average on your daily chart and expect the stock to turn around exactly at that price on that day. Well, AMD actually did. That said, the whole point is imagine a world in which it doesn't actually get to the perfect entry on that daily chart. Well, if that's the case, what you want to see is just any confirmation that that's going to be support. In this particular case, 154 was that level. You can see it trending down incredibly weak relative to pretty much every other chip name or pretty much everything in the market at that point. It bounces once off that level. It then bounces twice. Now, yes, if you just draw a line on the chart on that daily and buy it in front of it, it's going to work out. But the whole point is, where can you join after the fact? And the way I look at it is right in here where it tries to reverse. On a 15-minute, this is your candle of indecision. Now, remember, you're just looking for a direction off of that major moving average. In this case, it's bouncing off the bottom, so you're looking for a long entry. Instead of just sitting out at the bid, there is your little bit of a consolidation. You know you like that long. It breaks back out the top and now starts trending higher. So again, sometimes you just want to use that major moving average as a guide. If AMD is going to bounce off it, support at the 50 period like it's been doing, on the day of, maybe you're going to get that exact particular price. Other times, you're just waiting for it to bounce off that level. Once it shows the trend reverse or gives you a long entry setup, could be a trend reversal, could be a higher low consolidation breakout, lots of things in there. But you're waiting for it to get to that price to take action. The same way you were waiting for Microsoft to see if it could get to that 420. Once it can't, you're just looking for a short. With AMD, you're just looking for a long. So these major moving averages where a lot of buyers and sellers on higher time frames are interacting, they can give you a bit of an assist. AMD was a weak stock, but the second it bounced and held that 50-period moving average, it went from one of the weakest names in the market to suddenly a very strong one, which has just gone green. But you had to have that line in the chart there to look at, and the idea that you wanted to go into a long on what was a weak stock. So we love these major moving averages. Your lesson of the day, you don't have to actually trade off of them to be able to profit from them. You can just have the idea of the direction that you want to trade them away from the major moving average. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you very much, Neil. Informative, eloquent, and all around awesome as always, every day around that noon hour. If you like what you heard, join us again, Neil's lesson of the day. Thank you again. Joe, before I send it to you to tell us about the TQQs, I want to mention that I'm still in Wolf. WULF. It's still pumping to the high side, guys. This one's taking out highs, $6.14. Where did we weasel in? 81s. Look, if this comes back into 6, I'm adding. It's got to come back into 6. Show me that buyers are stepping up in and around 6. I want to use $6 now as a level of support if it is warranted. Now, how are you going to say, well, what am I supposed to be looking at? Well, we got to get down there first, have a look at how the book is moving, how the buy orders start coming in at 6, what kind of size is moving up on the bid, and conversely, what kind of size is moving down the ask that could prevent us from ascending. So we're printing close to high day right now, 613, 614 is the high of the day. WULF, this is not a small cap gapper. It is a multi-billion, $2.33 billion, guys, with a bigger float, but it also has a larger short float, hence why we're in this bad boy. So keep your eye out on this one. I also want to mention, sorry, Joe.
No.
GNPX. This one was the multi-zillion halter from this morning. It has just worked its way down into the volume weighted average price at exactly $1.30. I was going to say a third, but it's not exactly $1.30. But the point is to tell you that VWAP is in play now. Whether this holds up at VWAP, an entirely different story. Let it prove to you. I would basically take this bad boy on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say, which essentially means get it to prove to you it's going to hold up at that level and pump out a couple of green candles. If you get a worse price, that's part of the game, but it also comes with better confirmation. So a bit of yin and a bit of yang there, Joe. So we'll see exactly what we get. All these small cap gappers certainly on watch today. So's IVP, man. This thing is knocking on the door of a dang dollar. And I don't know when you guys brought this to me. It was like 80 pennies or something like that. We talked about 60 pennies being a dip trade. This IVP laughed in my face, like, what, 60 pennies? I'm going to $1, my boy. 98.43 HOD, up 283%. Did I give them the deets on IVP? And if I didn't, I'll do it again. 7 million market cap, 193 million shares traded today, and it has a huge short float of 914,000 shares. Guys, I'm joking when I say that. This thing is very small float and could become parabolic. Let's find out what the short float is on IVP. Oh my God, a sub-million float and 32% short float. You don't say. This thing can absolutely fly, but that's good. and that's bad because you can get rinsed on it. So keep your eye out on IVP, Joe. I'm going to be keeping my eye out.
Absolutely, brother. I mean, the market's starting to pull back in here, and I want to point something out because I went back and I watched it, and I said, oh, no. Talk about mispronunciations when I said sediment instead of sentiment, guys. So thank you for pointing that out.
Geologist, you.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, my days. I can't believe I said that, but that's all right. So, guys, we got NVDA starting to pull back in a little bit here. A potential double top on the market's darling here. It failed to break 141.73 and now looks like it could potentially pull back into the volume weighted average price. I don't know if it's going to, but the rejection and the failed break of the high of the day is something to, you prefer me saying sediment. Yeah, so do I guess so. But anyways, guys, in all seriousness, we're looking like we're starting to pull back a little bit here. And with that, the overall market's gonna pull back as well too. Apple's starting to come in. It's still holding pretty strong. But NVDA is something to keep an eye on because we did fail to break the 141.80, and now we're starting to come into we're about to break 141, it looks like, and then possibly come and test VWAP. If we break this 140 area, then potentially look for the downside, but I think this thing's going to hold pretty strong today. It broke those all-time highs. It's now holding it, so that's an asset that I would look to join the trend in that one. So if it continues to the northeast side, then guys, look to continue there. Don't fight the shorts. Don't try to anticipate anything. If it does break down, wait for that volume to step in a little bit. So, yeah, exactly, Adam. I was so upset now. So that's it, guys. But hey, listen, the TQs are starting to kind of do what we expected to do. I don't know if I'm going to add just yet because the overall sentiment of the market is a little weak. And with that, Sharif and I were just talking about Microsoft not too long ago, and it's still down a little bit here, and it's not putting any form of a strong session in at all, sitting around 415.17. And I mean, if it breaks, then I think there might be some more downside here. But guys, just hold on because I think when Microsoft and Google really start to go and all this this antitrust into Google starts to fade away, then I think these things can start to pick up again. And I think that's going to drag the overall market to the top side with that one, guys. So I'm going to add just a little bit here in the TQs, nothing crazy. We still have a couple shares, but we are holding VWAP. So I don't want to add too much in because what Sean was talking about is FIFO, first in, first out. Yeah, exactly there, a proper paradox. So we're gonna add here, and we're gonna look for the continuation to the northeast side, guys. So other than that, Sharif, we're gonna hold our horses. We're gonna try to diamond hand this TQQ trade here, guys. So we got this rolling, and let's see what AMD has been up to. I've kind of been keeping my eyes off of AMD. It has been really weak, but it's absolutely recovered. Wow, nice AMD. Let's go. This is exactly what we wanted to see. But first, we are going to pay some bills with the ad read.
We certainly are, Joe. Firefly Neurosciences has taken a bold step in advancing brain health technology. In collaboration with Bright Minds Biosciences, Firefly's innovative AI-powered platform has successfully analyzed data from a groundbreaking phase 1 clinical trial using advanced EEG technology to track brain activity. This data unlocks new potential in treating neurological and mental disorders, reinforcing Firefly's position at the forefront of brain health innovation. As they prepare for phase 2, this partnership signals exciting developments for the future of neuropsychiatric treatments. Firefly Neurosciences, shaping the future of brain health. And in case you're wondering who this company called Bright Minds Neurosciences is, look no farther than the ticker DRUG, baby. This is, what is it called again? Bright Minds Biosciences, and this is up almost, light 4,000% on the year. It weaseled its way up to $80. The high of the day for DRUG is $62.99 on the day, coming back into $54 now. But what a move it has been. We were trading this umpteen amount of times last week. DRUG was that big boy halter from that day, so we'll keep an eye out on this one. No question about it. We all remember it. I guess maybe because the ticker is just so, it's easy to remember, Joe.
Yeah, drug.
Yeah, so it's all good there.
Don't do drugs.
All right, yeah.
Get some help. Stop.
Yeah, where's he at?
Stop.
Ram, you missed it. Every time we were talking about drug, the Chilean Nightmare kept putting Jordan on there telling us, we shouldn't do drugs.
Get some help.
Yeah, that was a hint. There you go, Ram. That was a hint to do it. Thank you, Ram. Appreciate that. Guys, I've set up a dip trade at 602 on WUL. 619 high a day on Wolf, guys. We're in at 581. I've set up a dip trade at 602 to defend the $6 level. Kind of a risk, obviously. I'll give it a few pennies, so it's going to have to hold 6 in general for me to be interested. I'm all eyes, though, on IVP as it rejects the dollar, but here it comes into the 10 exponential moving average at around 80 pennies. Does it hold up here? IVP, it's got a whole bunch of chop and churn at this level. We know this is a highly shorted name with a very small float. So if you get in here, you better be ready for some volatility, baby. So we're in already. Get it, Adara? Yes, I'm using Adara's terms because, well, they're fun. So we're going to hang out over here. We're going to look to see if we can scalp out on this one. I'm in already. We're not going to give this that much room, Joe. We're looking to weasel in, take some profits off what could be a support level at around 80 pennies, come what may. Up 230%. Let's put some respect on this one's name. Kyle Lynn says short. You're not going to catch me shorting these small cap gappers north of VWAP, Kyle. If you want to do it, have at it. You're probably a lot better at it than I am. That's not really my jam. If I'm going to short them, they got to be below VWAP. That's just kind of some general rules that I have here, Joe. What are you looking at, my man?
Yeah, that's good stuff there, Sharif. We're looking over here at AMD, and what an absolute recovery on the session for this thing, starting to push high of the day, which is absolutely fantastic. We have a great question from our boy Adam Deleuze. Joe, I have about 50 cold hard in a long term and looking to use options as a way to mitigate the risk and collect a premium. What percentage of the portfolio would you tend to allocate to an options play? I mean, that's the beauty of them, right? So they are leveraged, so they're going to cost you a significantly less amount. But again, you don't want to go anything, you don't want to overweight yourself on anything. So like 2.5%, 5%, 7.5%, but nothing really more than like 10% of the value of that to one specific trade. Or if you have high conviction in it, you can go up to 12.5, but you don't want to put too much weight on those types of things. But again, if you have multiple positions, anywhere south of 10%, I think is good, right? You want to keep that somewhat equally weighted. You don't want to go too heavy on one position there. So that's a good look, Adam. It's a great question too, guys. But yeah, I think AMD is absolutely holding up, and I didn't think that it was going to start recovering like it did here, Sharif. I thought it was going to break this bottom here. It was absolutely looking bearish when I was doing my morning analysis on the train, and I thought that maybe it was about to break 155. So I don't know if it's going to, but as of today, right now, it's looking pretty strong. But I think maybe in the near future, it could break unless we absolutely bounce off this level and then continue to the northeast side. Then I would look for, I wouldn't say fade onto it because it is still a strong stock, I guess, relatively. I mean, the secondary trend is still to the upside, but we're getting a little bit of a bounce here on it now, so that's something that we can look forward to. So as long as we hold 155, I think we'll be okay, and then we have earnings coming up, so anything positive in that stock can send it to the north side. So Joe, Tesla's been bouncing to the upside from here for the past 10 days. Could this be another buy to the upside? I like that 2NY cents.
Yeah.
Let's talk some Tesla actually, because with Tesla from a daily perspective has something that Sharif is actually talking about, and that is the gap from the We Robot conference, guys. So that presentation, and I'm gonna look to play this gap fill absolutely when it's time. And I mean, look at this up from a daily perspective. That's not something that you see too often here. So that's really interesting. I mean, if it can pop up and we get any sort of conviction and volume start to step in, some positive volume, I think that Tesla can start to fill this gap absolutely. I mean, we got the report this Wednesday, is it? After the close, I think? Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday, either or. Just wait, right? Just wait a couple of days, wait and see. I mean, if it opens up within this gap, then maybe you can start to size in a little bit. But my overall play on that one would be just like wait for the report. Let that volatility settle in. You don't want to get caught in those volatility onslaughts, especially if you're playing options and buying calls on this. The volatility is going to pick up, and therefore the premiums will start to increase on this. So you're going to want to hold a little bit here, and it is rejecting the 224 level a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind as well, too, guys. So, but I'm liking Tesla, so good pointing out on that because I absolutely have my eyes on it for sure. On that one there, brother. What do you got going on?
All right, we're in IVP and we're in WULF, and I'm a little disappointed here with the fact that I didn't get added on WULF. I had 602s out as an order. I believe it worked its way down into 04s, 03s, not readily apparent to me at the moment. It looks like it is generally defending 6. I mean, my only concern with putting out that order at 6-ish was, did it get far enough away from 6 to say, okay, we can kind of use that level as a support level now? And that was that's the question I'm asking myself there. So we'll pack our patience with this one. We're basically flat, 1 penny out of the money right now on IVP, looking for this to hold up above $0.75. I've got a beak wetter set up in the high 80s, come what may. Let's see if we get stopped out here. It did breach the 10 exponential, but it's putting in a bit of a hammer candle now. I should also let you know that the volume weighted average price on IVP is like literally right at 70 pennies. And you love that. Well, I love that because it gives us that 10 penny level off which to work, as well as it being the volume weighted average price. So we'll pack our patience and see if we can continue to move up on this, or it's going to be a big boy drop there. So we'll talk about that and much more when we get back from Adair at the big desk.
Keep an eye on NFLX, which is actually at new all-time highs as of right now. We are edging into that 770 level for the first time ever. Potential levels on watch here include 766.29s. That was their new all-time high as of Friday. So Friday's all-time high at the time was 766.29s. There was also an interesting push up here at 764s earlier today on the level 2. That was a level that was of interest yesterday as well. Also clear support here, 757. That was a level that was of interest on Friday. We held it beautifully here on so far earlier today as well. So 757 and 764 potential levels here for NFLX, as it now is heading into 771s for the first time ever, guys.
I just get excited when any of these names make all-time highs. I'm not invested in Netflix, but wow. I yelled to the Katina man. I'm like, Katina man, something's going on. He's like, look, bro, they just reported. Calm down. It could be because of that. That was a big boy squeeze there. Big boy squeeze. It was at $757 at the start of the show. It's breaking through 772. Wow, NF. Dang LX on the way up. I was going to use a different word, and then I wouldn't be here tomorrow. So wow, look at this squeeze. What a hold up there, Joe. I mean, it had a whole bunch of resistance at 764 because that was Friday's closing print, and then it just blows through that there at that 1155 candle. Doesn't even look back, and we're getting the monster squeeze right now. Look at that. There's no. Doesn't feel like there's a sell right now on it. We'll have to wait and see. $773, guys. What a move up for NFLX. The king of the streamers, or so it seems right now. We'll keep an eye on that, Joe. What are you looking at?
You know what, Sharif? I'm seeing some guys point some stuff out in the chat that might be right down your alleyway. I don't know if you're looking at it today. Is NITO, N-I-T-O. Oh. It's absolutely roaring to the top side here, guys. So good look here on the on NITO. That's right down Sharif's alleyway. This thing is really starting to pick up some steam, up quite a bit on the session. So that's a good look when their rocket ships absolutely deserved on that one. Sharif, if you could pick any 2 stocks to split, which ones would they be? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, great question. Netflix is one of them. Yep. Right away. Neil's been calling for that for a while. I think a lot of people are calling for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Netflix. All right, let me think about another stock that I really like that is a little out of my ASML. I know ASML just got
hammer. Absolutely. But I mean, by the dip, right? Like
well, yeah, it was still 700 and change. So yeah. So ASML's probably the other one, just because they're a monopoly, a flat out legal monopoly that nobody's doing anything about.
So all right.
Yeah,
so
that's. How about you? Let me hear your.
I got Costco and Netflix.
Costco, I should have said that too. Yeah, that was
Costco and Netflix. Yeah, those are something that I would definitely want to
agree with that.
But we got Walmart too. So I mean, they just
split
too. So yeah, I guess we can't get everything that we want all the time, unfortunately. So guys, yeah.
Katina Man says we can.
No, we can't.
Get it, Katina Man.
You say we can or we can't? Hi, exactly. Okay, we can't get everything we want. I would exactly. So. Manifest and things shall come true, guys, all right? So we're out of here, the TQs. We're getting exactly what we want here. So we got this here, but we're out of it because it looks like the market wants to pull back a little bit. Hopefully that, I was hoping that NFLX was gonna drag the Qs up a little bit, but it's not heavily weighted anymore. So it's not the FANG, it's gonna individually drive the market. So it didn't have any pull in that nice up move here on the overall markets, even though I'm sure it played somewhat of a part. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, a lot of people seem like they want Costco in the chat there because that would be a really nice one. I mean, what other grocery store do you pay to get into other than Costco? So that's some good stuff.
Good question.
Yeah, right. So I don't think so.
Great question. yeah, not many others.
No, you don't pay. It's not like I'm paying to get into Farm Boy or anything like that. And I'm a big Farm Boy guy, so it's a Canadian grocery store here, guys. But yeah, I mean, the overall market, it's starting to kind of slow down. The momentum slowing down a little bit. We are holding the volume-weighted average price on the Qs, and the SPY is just trading under it right now. So we're going to see what's going to happen on with the Qs. Sure, if we might take another entry here at VWAP.
Respect that, man. I'm still in 2 trades right now. IVP looking for my first peak wetter in the high 80s. It's going to have to hold up at this area. A lot of shares are trading hands right now on IVP. A lot of zig and zag. Somebody's selling up a storm at around 82 pennies. We'll have to see if the buying up a storm overweighs the selling of the storm. So we'll keep eyes on that. I did get my ad here on WULF, original entry 581, and now we're looking to see if it wants to hold up at 6. I added at 602. It weaseled up into 601. It's going to have to hold 595. Otherwise, I want no smoke. So we're going to have to see if adding at 602 was the right move here, or I'm going to be made to pay for that. Back to IVP, because this one we're still trading into. We're a penny out of the money. A lot of zig and zag happening right now, and what I see, what could be forming, not saying it will form, is a head and shoulders pattern. There's your left shoulder, there's your bulbous head, and there is the forming of the right shoulder. And this looks like it wants to, it looks like there's some selling over here. So if this manifests as a head and shoulders, well, then we want, obviously, no smoke, and I won't be trading it until it sets up a little bit differently. So IVP on watch, very small float, very high short float, relatively speaking. It could become parabolic, but that works both ways. Works to the top side and the downside. So we'll see which side this stock wants to resolve into right now. Above the 10 exponential, above VWAP, and last time I checked, it's still above the 20 exponential moving average. So I think I've gotten all the right things right here in terms of IVP, but that doesn't mean anything. All these lines could mean absolutely nothing if a big seller comes in and pushes this one down. We've got Adara at the green screen.
Take a look at here at these small caps in the afternoon. Last time we looked at IWM around 10:20 this morning, we did have a struggle with 224. As of right now, we're trying to hold on to 222s, and we traded even lower. So bit of dire straits here for that Russell 2000, down more than 1% right now. Trying to make higher lows here on that 15-minute chart. Of course, we have to talk about IVP, Inspire Veterinary Partners. Shreve's been involved in this name and has spoken about it. So it is worth noting here, in case you missed it, we've got about a 30% short float for IVP. This one does have a bit of a smaller market cap as well. And I'm seeing decent percentage insider owned. So IVP on watch. GNPX as well here. Genprex is the name of this company. At one point up over 300%. Right now it's still up about 250%. So not bad for GNPX. Wasn't seeing any news on it. They do have a market cap of just over $3 million from what I'm seeing, and a float of about 2.5 million shares. Last but not least, NITO. This one actually pushing into new days highs. This is N2 off is the name of the company. They're up as of right now more than 100% and a $3 million market cap. So lots of small market caps for these small cap gappers. If these or any other names are on your radar, you want to see what Neil and Sean have to say about these tickers. You have until 1:50 p.m. to go in that chat and vote. So you have an hour and 20 minutes left. Exclamation point join, space, $, and the ticker of choice. It is a subscribers only chat. So make sure you've liked and subscribed.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. My favorite segment of the day, obviously the small cap gapper segment, baby. Shout out. Yeah, NITO is just flying up here. Great call out there, Joe. I don't have any of the details on this one. Let me give it to you guys super quick. NITO, what is the situation? So it's a 4.5 or less, actually now $4.5 million market cap, 40.8 million shares trade on the day. It is an agri-food tech company, and the float on this bad boy, 2.6 million shares, and let's find out what the short float, I'm sure there is, or if it's, if it's non-negligible here. Let's find out. NITO is the ticker. So negligible short float there, 0.6%. And this one's saying 8 million shares rather than 2.6 on my platform. So we'll keep tabs on that one. But it's breaking through 50 pennies right now. HOD 51 pennies. Great look here for NITO. So we'll keep tabs on that. Separately, I did get stopped out of IVP as this one broke down below 70. I was of the opinion that if this one broke down below 70, we may get a bit of a head and shoulders retracement to the downside. So I don't want any smoke there. I'll get back in if it sets up properly. It's currently at the volume weighted average price at around 69, 68 pennies and change. If it holds up here and proves to me that it's going to hold up, then I'll get back in. Otherwise, we want no smoke with this one. And now back to WULF. It's holding 6. But for how long? Look at these topping tail candles, even on the 1 minute, and I'm getting something similar to it on the 5, meaning that the seller's really pushing this one down despite it attempting to rise, to ascend back to 604, 606. So I'm keeping my eye out on this one. 595 break. We're ending this trade here on WULF, Joe.
Hey, good stuff. We got actually a quick question here for you, Sharif, too.
Yeah,
so
man.
how do you find small cap gappers? What flew today? Is there a scanner to find these ones? I figured this one's right down your alley.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let me show you the scanner by trade ideas. It's basically the same one that I've got on my platform here, and it's a solid one. Michael Moss helped me set this up when he was here. You'll always see price and change percentage since close and change percentage since open. So number one, why do I keep those on there? Because one tells me how high the stock is up or what percentage the stock is up on the day since 4 a.m. And the other one tells me about how much it's up since 9:30, since the bell rang. And I like to see those two numbers because you can have a big boy up from 4 a.m. but down from the bell. In that case, I don't want to trade it, right? So I always like to have that on there. Now, what I filter for using my scanner is the number or the highest gappers percentage up on the day. It's always expressed a little bit differently depending on what scanner you're using. Gap percentage on the day, up, change percentage on the day, whatever it's called. So I want to filter those by the biggest ones. And then I want to have a price filter as well. I usually filter anything sub $85, 85 cents. The reason I use 85 cents as a filter is because I like to have advanced notice of those ones getting into the dollar area. And then on top of that, I have a volume filter. I don't want to see the ones trading 50,000 shares and 100,000 shares when we're at 11 a.m. It's got to have at least 250,000 shares traded under its belt. And I'll submit to you, that 250,000 filter, that's for the pre-market. By the time I sit down at this desk at 11 o'clock, that thing better have traded a few million shares, minimum, for me to be interested. So those are the three filters I use. I use the percentage up on the day, I use the dollar or 85 cent minimum, and I use a volume minimum. Obviously, you can have a bunch of other stuff in there, like you put your 52-week high or 52-week low. You can throw your average volume on there to compare how much it's traded on the day relative to the yearly average. You can do a bunch of different things. Explore your scanner, explore what kind of columns and data it allows you. Every scanner is going to be made or is unique. So that's what my suggestion to you is. Obviously, And I use a scanner every day. It's on the top of my screen. So that's just basically one of the tools I've always got on here, Joe.
Yeah, great stuff there, guys. So I just want to point something out here on the TQs, and this is kind of what my eyes have been set on for this session so far, is that we were in here. As you can see, we had a nice, beautiful entry here, took some off, and then we looked for the ad for the continuation of the trend. Unfortunately, we didn't get that, but now we're kind of forming this channel to the downside, and I'm looking for something for some volume to step in. Let's see which way this channel decides it wants to break, and I thought that we were going to move to the north side, but as soon as it breached VWAP, I was out of this position. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to try to force something that, because if it was going to work, it was going to work immediately. I figured my thesis was built. If the volume was going to step in, it's going to step in now, and we're going to continue to the northeast side there, guys. But it looks like it wants to break the volume weighted average price and hold. The channel is slightly breaking to the downside, and VDA is starting to pull back in as well too, guys. So yeah, let's keep putting out what you guys are looking at. Yeah, drug is going down. We can take a look at drug too, guys, and see what's going on with that one, because I know it's been absolutely extremely hot the past couple days, and a lot of people have been having a lot of fun with it here. So I mean, sitting around $52, $53 right now is starting.
Get some help.
Stop it. Get some help. So it's starting to pull back. I mean, it hasn't had any fantastic session at all. A lot of these candles are overlapping each other. You can't say that there's an absolute specific direction and something that you can absolutely get chewed up in. So keep an eye out on this one. I mean, once it does decide it wants to pick a direction, then you can look to join. But as of right now, just make sure you have a little bit wider of a risk here, because there is no specific direction there, guys. So, hey, just make sure if you have any options questions, guys, let me know, throw them in the chat, and let me know what you guys got set up for the week, right? That's what we were talking about earlier. Wanted to see what kind of trades you guys were looking at. I know some people mentioned Tesla and some other things as well, too. So let's take a look at some options. Talk about what potential positions you can put on leading into the earnings reports. Guys, what do you got going on there, brother?
Guys, the Katina man now is short on the TQQs, and he's been putting that in the chat. I didn't have eyes on it. But yeah, good look there, Katina man. The Katina man short TQQs at this level, bearish on this here market, at least for the moment right now. The NQ is in negative territory, the NQ December contract, but a quarter point in negatory land. To go green, we got to weasel our way above 20,485. We're still well below that. We're at 433 right now, and below the volume weighted average price. So it looked like we had a whole bunch of selling at this 20,465-ish area. And let's just say the mid 50s to the mid 60s there, we encountered a whole bunch of selling. So I haven't looked much at the Mag 7 today. We've been looking at these small cap gappers du jour. Nimit, what's going on with BIVI? Nimit, it just reclaimed VWAP. But I got a sneaking suspicion this one might find a brick wall of sellers at 550. Look at all the bottoming tail or support level, let's just call it that, 550 initially. And now we're working right back above that 5 or that 5.25 where VWAP is, but 550 really is the level I'm looking for. 550 general area here. Let me know how you feel about that, because it's working up. I know you were tagging me in the chat about this one. I told you that it would have to get above VWAP, which it now is. But that 550 is still a bit of an elusive target there. So packing my patience, see if we can get into that bad boy. All right, I'm happy I did not get stopped out of on Wolf here. And in case you were wondering what I was doing there, right now,
I was actually, I'm like, what is he doing?
What is he doing?
Yeah.
It's all right. The reason I put my out right over here below 595, and the reason I did that is because we had a bit of an area hold up initially here at 1150, and we held up there certainly for an area crest at 1020 or so. So it's going to have to reclaim 6. I don't want a dead cat bounce through 6 and then a making of a newer low. That comes, for example, if we work into 605, which is obviously a lower low than 619, and then we make a lower high vis-a-vis that 605 pop, and then we make a newer low vis-a-vis a 595 break. That, to me, says get the hell out of Dodge, okay? Because I don't want any lower lows and lower highs on a wider pattern here. with WULF. It's going to have to hold up at this area. So packing my patience with this one. Let's see what comes. IVP is just killing me. I thought it was going to hold up at VWAP. Now it's breaking down below VWAP. So it looks as if, you know, the continuity that we were getting on these small cap gappers last week, not as, you know, strong this week. And that's something to pick up on, because the trade can change from taking them long on every pop into actually shorting, you know, the pops, or when they give back at VWAP. And that was a trade that I really liked in early 2023, late 2022. When you were getting these small cap gappers, you'd get initial strength and then it would fade. And that was the best trade, to fade the small cap gappers. But you got to know when it starts doing that. And it feels like today there's definitely a lack of continuity with them, or, you know, as compared obviously to last week. But we've got bills to pay, as we typically do, Ram, and let me know, am I right, or were you telling me about something else?
No, just the.
I think we have trade the pool.
Position board.
48, you're right. Yeah, position board is down, says Ram. Guys, sorry, we'll get that fixed.
Yeah, we're working on that one there.
In a hot second. Just give the production crew. Ram says we're trading too hard and we caused it to malfunction. So it's kind of on us here, Joe.
I still need that money storm from Fabian, and Fabian said he's working on the money storm.
I would love that. I think that would be badass.
Yeah,
that'd be really good.
The money. Yeah.
I don't believe that.
No.
She's trolling us as usual. Yeah.
Back.
Oh yeah, the troll master is back, and you know she's rested. She's ready to go. You're not rested. Well, yeah, that's right. She came in at 3 a.m. this morning on the red eye.
Okay, all right.
Shout out to Ram. So Ram, you know, you told us about the weather. Now the people want to know, was it just a vacation, or were you introducing a significant other?
Ooh, a vacation.
Ram, the people want to hear you. Okay, that's nice. Okay. I thought it was the other way around. I thought you were going to go show him off. All right, so she went to meet his family. Shout out to Ram. Great look there. And Ram, if you don't mind me asking, how did it go with his family? Were you met warmly? Chaotic was the word, but good. But good. So if anybody's worried, you know, Ram may have not had a good time. Rest assured, everything was fun.
I think she had a good time. She's all right.
The people are like, what are you guys talking about? But people know exactly who Ram is, because we're constantly talking about Ram on the show. So shout out to Ram.
Ooh, okay.
GNPX, guys, it's making another attempt here to move back up, and this time it's not halting nearly as much. It was a beautiful hold at VWAP. I didn't want to trade this because it was halting to no end earlier, and then in fact it gave you more bamboozlement on the way up. But here we go. It's holding VWAP quite well, and there it goes, breaking this $1.70 area, which is where we rejected last time, working into that $1.75. 204 takes that out. I think we're squeezing even more here. 310%. I guess this one just needed a break or to take its breath or whatever, and you know, for maybe another attempt at the highs. But GNPX back over here, Joe, looking to break some these local highs on the way up. Ooh.
Yes, sir. Someone out in the chat, Julia Beckwith. Joe, I'm in some coin looking for 207, 206 on the shorts. Let's take a look. I mean, Bitcoin is on the weaker side today, so let's take a look at here. I mean, we're sitting around just under 211 right now on the bid, so you're gonna have to hold a little bit to see if you can get that low a day again on that one. But good luck on the short, continuing with the downside. So you can't go wrong when you're going with the trend, because the trend is your friend. So good luck there, Julia. Hopefully you hold on to those diamond hands, working on grip strength in the gym, and all those types of fun stuff, guys. Yeah.
And there was a lot of fights this weekend. Holy,
there was a lot of
fights.
fights.
You see Costa Zeus kid get knocked out. He tasted the canvas 6 times.
Oh
man.
yeah,
6
I've seen that. Yeah, and then they waved it off on him. Yeah, he got upset
dude,
there.
The man he was on the receiving end of it. You know what?
And then Francis.
That was a great fight.
Yeah, well, it was all of the 2 minutes that it lasted. So
I saw a lot of people shutting him out online after.
I mean, it's the same with John Jones when he came in and he fought heavyweight, right? He fought for 2 minutes, and then so I think you got to throw in another guy in the cage if they go under 5 minutes, so that you could send it, right? Because you're gonna have all this hype. John Jones doesn't fight for a couple of years, comes into the cage. makes a couple million in a couple of minutes. And
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He's gifted, though. Like, he's clearly gifted.
He's absolutely a different human being, right? So with that comes, you know all about John Jones, guys. He's definitely a different human being because this, the AMD's coming back, but we're back into the TQs. I know the Katina man's short right now, I think. So unfortunately, I am long. I think that we continue to the top side.
Hope so.
Man, so we'll see. We're gonna hold on to this. It is starting to pop up a little bit, you know, and we're just gonna hold on to this one. I don't know if we're gonna add into any of this position. We have that channel that I was mentioning earlier here that you can see that formed. And if it breaks with any form of momentum, then maybe we would look to add a little bit of position to the size. But as of right now, we're okay. We're going to hold on to what we got, and it looks like it may break. But we want to see that volume step in around 74.30s before we decide to do that at any point. So with Joe part of the mid-share, you can please share. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that, Ricky Kwan. That means a lot. Yeah, that definitely means a lot there. Because yeah, John Jones is absolutely next level. So thanks for showing the love, guys. That means a lot. There was a lot of good love showing up in the chat today, Sharif. But first, we gotta pay some.
Yes, we do big news from Trader TV and Trade the Pool. Trade the Pool is giving away 7 limited edition $20,000 buying power evaluation accounts to help traders just like you take the next step in your trading journey. At Trade the Pool, you first complete an evaluation by hitting profit targets. Once you pass, you get access to up to $260,000 in buying power. The giveaway dates are October 21st to October 25th. Write this down, October 21st to October 25th. The winners will be revealed on October 29th. This is your chance to start trading with a funded account, so don't miss out. The link is in the description. Everyone can get funded. So there you go. It's on the bottom right of your screen as well. See that QR code? Get into that right now. Scan that QR code or get into the description of this video to get enrolled in that giveaway. What a great setup there from Trade the Pool. I know personally that well, as a younger kid, definitely didn't have access to as much capital, and that definitely would have helped me there. All right, I got long on this GNPX thing only simply because it took out some of the local highs. I know full well that this can be a monster bamboozler, so I'm leaving this one a little bit of room to do its thing, you know, to zig and zag. I'm looking at wetting my beak just in front of that 90 penny area. It's up 343%. Sometimes just with these ones, you just don't know exactly what you're going to get. I saw some resistance here at $1.88 from that candle at 1140, hence why I put it there. If it breaks 165 to the downside, I want no smoke, so we're going to keep tabs on this one. GNPX up 323% right now. Zigging and zagging, holding off the volume weighted average price. Good look for them. So we'll keep tabs on this one, Joe.
Yeah, so Robbie V, we're going to go over PTIX in a second. I'm just going to shout out Chris S, man. I've seen you put it in the chat a couple times for showing the love. So that absolutely means so much. And same with you, Richie Kwan. I think, what is Ricky Kwan from? Ricky Kwan, it might be Rush Hour or something. Ricky Kwan is Rush Hour.
That's Ricky Tang.
Ricky Tang.
Ricky Tang, bro.
Ricky Tang,
he's so sinister, Ricky Tang.
Ricky Tang.
Always
Ricky
messing
Tang,
with everybody, bro.
Yeah, thank you, Richie Kwan and Chris S. So let's go over what you were looking at there, brother. PTIX. We'll pull up PTIX for you right now and see what they got going. Protagonic, whatever this is. So let's take a look here at PTIX. I don't know why it's not pulling up. Okay, we'll come back. Okay, here we are. Sorry for the delay, guys. Yeah, I mean, this thing is absolutely buzzing, and what you pointed out is correct. We don't, with this kind of effort in a candle print, we want to see that relayed in the volume as well too. So when we have these large moves, we want to see the volume supporting that, and we don't see that right here. And for what reason, I'm not too sure. Sharif can absolutely dive into this and give you the short float and see if maybe somewhat of a squeeze is going on. But I mean, I don't know what you're looking to do on this, but you're in the right direction if you're looking to go to the north side of this one. Oh, you mentioned you want to see $1. I mean, maybe not today, but in the near future if it continues to do what it's doing. So good look there on PTIX. I think Sharif will like that one very much as well too. I'm looking to add. So TQs is starting to work. We broke this channel here. NVDA is starting to continue to the north side. I was looking to add there at that channel break, so I'm a little late to the dance. I don't want to chase it. So if we can get a retest of the channel high, then I'm going to definitely look to enter here, guys. So as you can see, I kind of just roughly pointed out what I was specifically looking at. And then when this breaks, I will look for the volume increase, which is exactly kind of happening right now in the lower time frames. And then if we can sustain this volume and then hold these levels, then I'm going to look to add into this position. But as of right now, we're really happy with where we got in. And then this is what we want to see. We want to see that volume start to pick up as we start to break out, all right? So as you're doing breakout trades, correlating volume and prices is very important. Sharif, what do you think, brother?
Absolutely, 100%, man. With that, well said there. Very well said.
Yeah. So that's what you got to look for, and we mentioned it, and we mention it all the time. Is when we're looking for these breakouts, look for the volume to correlate with how price is reacting. And you're like, oh, why isn't it breaking out? You're looking for the breakout on a specific stock or a specific setup, but you don't see the volume stepping in. That can be a reason why, guys. So BTC long, yeah, it looks like BTC is starting to pick things up a little bit. Guys, throw in the chat what you're looking at. We just looked at PTIX, which is looking really good there. So good stuff there, guys. And we're just going to continue to hold. We have the entry that we like here, and if we hold this, we're gonna add into this position, brother.
Yeah, I'm flying blind here for all my data just went out on my platform, so I gotta restart this bad boy for whatever reason. Okay, that's a little unusual. So I can't really see what we're doing over here, but what's it called? All right, so we're long back in Wolf at 6 because it dipped in quickly and then broke back. So got in there, got out of GNPX before the halt. So a bit of a tougher one. I'm looking at adding on this one possibly at the volume weighted average price, but I'm not gonna commit to that. I need to see how it trades in and around there. Joe, I'm just gonna send it to you, brother, because I gotta restart this whole thing because I don't have any data.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So guys, man, I can't even emphasize enough on how much that means. It's just the love is pouring through, right? So don't let the head get too big, guys. So tone it down, maybe. No, I'm joking. Keep sending it our way. We have a good time. Sharif and I have a good time on the show, just talking about things that we enjoy doing, and that's exactly what is going on here. So as you can see, the TQs is starting to work, and we're just going to focus on this. This is something that's been working for me for the day, so I really want to emphasize on this specific asset, right? I want to continue. If it works one time, we're going to take definitely a couple stabs on it. We're a little bit early on the initial punch with the ad, but that's okay. We just stuck to the thesis, and now we're continuing to the top side. We decided to break that channel with the volume increasing, so that's something that you really want to look at. So someone's saying Doge long around 10 cents. I mean, me and my friends, I remember when Doge first came out, we had an absolute blast trading Dogecoin, and we were getting it at fractions of a penny at that point. So I remember the group chat. Everybody has a group chat, and we had a lot of fun trading Dogecoin on that one, guys. So let me know what you guys are looking at. And I know we're rolling into earnings season, so you want to hold off on the credit spreads with options and stuff, because you want to catch volatility as it's peaking, not when it's really low. So that's what kind of why I'm holding off this week on the credit spreads, is because we have Tesla reporting this week, and then we'll look to see if we can make some trades on that. You know that we have the gap fill that we're looking at on Tesla, so we're going to look to play that gap fill. Let's see what Tesla is up to on this session here. I mean, it was a little weak. I didn't keep too much of an eye on it after the morning drive, but we started to chop around a little bit here. We still have some higher lows, which is good, but we formed a base around 217.71. So if it continues to hold this, maybe it can take another leg to the northeast side, sitting and break 19. If it can break 219 and then head up to the next level around 220. So that's something that you can possibly look out for there as we hold these levels. You good to go there, bro?
Yeah. I'm not ready, but I'm just gonna relog in.
We keep I'll keep going on. Keep going on there. And look, guys. Yeah, SoFi. Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look at SoFi there, because I know it's been really hot as well too. Sharif and I were talking about it last week, and yeah, absolutely up about just under 3% on the day. It's definitely a good look. If you were in around 1030 and you're holding that, all the way up to 1055 with some shares, then you're definitely gonna be sitting on a pretty penny there, Tony Price. So I really like that look there, guys. This thing's been strong. If we want to look at it from a daily perspective, then you're on the right side, right? So this thing's been absolutely buzzing, starting to recover. I think it's definitely off its all-time highs. I don't know how too far. Maybe let's zoom out here and see. But yeah, I mean, hey, the past couple of weeks, this thing's been trading really well, and I know that some of the guys here have been trading it as well. So that's a good look there on SoFi. I really like that one, guys. Uber, yeah, I mean, we'll take a look at Uber, see what Uber's got going on. Maybe we'll talk a little bit of Uber there, Simmer Zarora, right after we get back from Sharif.
Hey, yes, there we go. Now we're good to go there. All right, in this wolf trade. IVP, though, is the one that may cause me some trouble, but GNPX is back open, guys, and I kind of had the feeling that this was going to put higher highs and higher lows. Here we go again. It's moving into that top, so it's put in a higher low now with, let's just say, a $1.50. What is that? That halt level that we were at there, $1.57 or so, weaseling its way right back into that 1.25. So this one, even though it halts, it has a tendency to halt. I think this one is primed at least to go. It's just you're going to have to give it room. That's the thing. You're going to have to give this one a little bit of room because of the halt parameters with this one. So we're going to punch in at the highs over here, look to defend this into the 10 penny level at around 181. Oh. Wow, bro. All right, so this is going to halt to the upside. We're involved in it on the upside right now. Let's see if it continues to move up here. Nope, false halt right now on GNPX. So I'll look to add on this one possibly at $1.71 to get some more. Otherwise, we'll wet our beak into the 90 penny area, just around there. So let's put those orders there. On this one, there's a lot of action right now on this one. Seems to be some selling, or there is size waiting at 85. Let's see if we're able to break through that. We haven't gotten to 85s yet on this latest pump. 84 was the best we could do. I still like this one with the higher lows and higher highs. We just need to pack our patience on it and see if we can continue to move up over here. Just have to set up my platform, brother, so I just got to send it back to you.
Yeah, we're back. Someone in the chat here mentioned Lucid. And I'm just going to be totally frank with you guys. I don't like this stock at all. I mean, like, come on. I don't know from a sympathy standpoint how it's going to react with Tesla and its earnings. But just looking at this thing from a daily perspective, down 3% on the session, I don't like this stock at all. Like, not one bit. Fabian loves it. I think he was... Fabian loves it, apparently. So yeah. So, but no, for me, I'm sorry, brother. I'm just gonna give it to you how it is and how I perceive things and how I look at it. Totally subjective, right? But I'm So I'm sorry. I better watch out. So,
Ram's threatening everybody around here, bro. I love it.
We don't like these. We don't like Lucid. Fabian likes it. I don't know. Yeah, we speak the truth. Do you like Lucid, Sharif?
No,
yeah,
I don't.
So there we go.
But look, they have a lot of money, and so it's a blessing and a curse, Joe. When you have a lot of money, you're not forced to be as efficient as you could be.
Yep.
But at the other side of the coin is you can hang out when other people go belly up.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
the thing. Adair's got something for us at the big desk.
File chapter 11.
Afternoon crypto segment here. I have the weekly chart for Bitcoin up as of right now, so we can see that big move up we had last week for BTC, though again still continuing to struggle with 70,000. This is interesting though because we actually had apparently the largest weekly increase in net inflows for digital asset investment products since 2023 July. So over a year here, it's our largest inflow increase in over a year. We had $2.2 billion in total digital asset investment product inflows. BTC got most of these, $2.13 billion in inflows, though Ethereum had about 58 million and some of the altcoins had smaller amounts. This is according to a report from CoinShares, which also attributed some of this to what's going on with the election and certain odds saying that depending on what candidate wins, there could be more or less support for BTC. So BTC could be one to watch as we head into November 5th. So yeah, just those inflows on watch here for Bitcoin though. this week, as of right now, pulling back a little bit. Now, I also have Solana on watch here, the daily chart. This one actually up on the day. If you look at Binance, it looks slightly down in the day if you look here at TradingView, because different times of day start in different places depending on what you're looking at for these crypto names. But this chart I found really interesting because we're continuing to hold support here around this 125 level. There's a bit of chop and churn here on the way up in March. Then we continue to find support at this level, and we really haven't closed below this level with the exception of a wick lower on that quote-unquote Black Monday there, August 5th. So good look here for Solana, continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. An exponential level here of resistance could be that support resistance area we've seen coming into effect most recently as of late July around 172. We wicked here earlier today, so let's see what we do here with SOL against the USD, guys.
Thank you for that, Adara. I'm seeing people say SERV is moving. Serve Robotics. Big move up. Let me show if I can find my side chart over here. There it is. Okay, let me just show you guys what this one is doing. SERV, a nice move up over here. It was whiffling and waffling at $10. Finally takes 10 and a quarter. This one broke the was that the pre-market high? No, that is the IB high, implied balance high. Shout out to Dan, the dang man Emmons. It had about, I don't know, kind of a double top there, separated by about, 15 minutes or so, about 20 minutes there, and now it just took it out, 10 and a quarter. It's not doing the most amount of volume I've ever seen, 5.88 million shares, but that's not bad for a $10 name. So SERV, Joe, going here for anybody who's interested.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what, Mila, I told you we're going to look at this, so I'd like to say I'm a man of my word.
Get it.
And that's exactly what we're going to do for you. We're going to look at Snow, because you have asked multiple times what's going on here with this stock. So, I mean, what are you specifically looking to do in it, Mila? But yeah, so if you can see it now, so let me know what you're looking to do. Hey, I mean, it looks like it's starting to put in somewhat of a rounded bottom. It's holding around 110 really nice, and that's something that I think you would want to see on this. Hold a specific level as best as it can, or sitting around 107 or 108. It's holding this support here. So if you're long from here, then absolutely, I think you can get behind that. Looking for a long-term play or somewhat of a swing play, then yeah, I think you're in at a good position, especially if you're looking to swing it for a couple of days. But Snow, it has been battered. It is down quite a bit off the highs, the recent highs here. I'm not too sure what its all-time highs are. Yeah, it's been absolutely battered from its all-time highs. I'm not sure if it's split or anything along those lines. But again, if you're looking to do a little swing play, I wouldn't be too objective to that, but again, don't want to fight the primary trends. And if the primary trend is showing that this thing is starting to slowly deplete, then don't fight it, and then maybe just look for something else, all right? Because there's a lot of other good stocks sitting around $120. So there's a lot of things. If there's something specific fundamentally or it is what they do that you like, then by all means, but don't hold too much of a bias to a stock, right? Let the price do the talking for you, all right? So that's the Snow. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight for that and on that one. But here, guys, I punched all out of my TQs. We got that channel break that we were looking for to the top side, and now we just got out. We didn't have as much size on it, what I would have liked. That would have left me for a little bit of a runner here, but that's okay, because if it pulls back, tests the channel, and then decides to make another leg, I think that we can push for high a day, absolutely. But as of right now, we're out of it. That one worked out. We're starting to pull in a little bit. NVDA is still kind of chopping around this range, forming a range here on the day after it had an absolute beautiful morning auction. The first hour or so was absolutely beautiful. So we're trading in between 141.80s and 139, 140. So that's a nice little range that you can potentially play tops and bottoms there as well too. Joe, what are your thoughts on VSTM? Sure, let's take a look at VSTM, and sorry guys, like Veristem. So Veristem sounds like it might be somewhat of a biotech or something along those lines. Small cap gapper, maybe, possibly. So this would be definitely down Sharif's alleyway here, sitting around about $3.64 and change. I mean, the volume is okay, and you have this absolutely massive gap to fill. I'm not too sure what they do. Are you familiar with these guys, Sharif?
Is a late-stage development biopharm company.
Yep.
The pipeline is focused on anti-cancer agents.
So there you go. So I was right on the bio there. Hey, and it doesn't take, if they start rolling through stages, then these things can absolutely start roaring. It seems like it wants to pick up a little bit of steam here. You haven't seen a daily candle like this in quite a while, since earlier in the year, but you have this massive gap down. So maybe wait to see if you can breach into this gap fill here, and then you can take a continuation to the top side. Until then, this just might be some relative noise. Brother, what do you got going on?
DJT back to 31, guys. I'm seeing 31.25 over here. You're in that, Katina Man? The Katina Man was in it before. So it's back up. Let me just double check quickly. DJT 31.16. I think it just weaseled its way into the $0.25 topping tail. Correction. Sorry, it's not a topping tail through the 31.25, but it did breach 31. It was whiffling. It was waffling at this level. Finally taking it out. It's a symphony of higher lows here, Katina Man, since it put in that low at 11.05. This morning. Higher lows all throughout, taking VWAP, taking the 10, taking the 20, whatever moving average you want to point out, it took it out. It is above all of them right now, but still below the low of the day, or sorry, the high of the day, 31.65. We had a bit of a double top there on a 5-minute candle basis. We'll see if that one can get taken out. Donald John Trump looks like it's weaseling back into the high side there. Let me also tell you about a couple of trades that I'm involved in right now. NPX. It has a huge seller at 75. Now, while Joe was dropping hot lines, I was watching the tape on this one. Here we go again with 75. Watch this rejection, baby. Look at that. All right, we took him out. Nice. All right, let's go more. Let's go. I'm waiting, bro. All right, let's see if we can continue ascending here, because I thought that seller at 75 was just monstrous, and we weren't able to take him out. Now 77's the level. Okay, it looks like we worked up to 78. I'm still waiting a little bit higher over here. This one's really going to need to get more volume behind it to break through the top. Otherwise, it looks like we're going to get stopped out. The one we're doing quite well on is WULF. I had a nice winner on this one earlier, Ram, and I have a nice winner on it again. I added at 6, and now we're at 612 again. So it's moving up. WULF, not the biggest percentage mover, certainly on the day, only a light 17%, but seems to be quite consistent. IVP continues to hold up at this area, but does nothing. And while it does nothing, it's churning like millions of shares per 5-minute candle here, all with nothing to show for. So keeping my eye on that one. Back to GNPX. Bamboozler in chief works its way up above 75, despite the fact that it's been rejecting 75 and then zigs and zags. So this one's still caught up in that range. Multiple topping tail candles in the mid to low 80s, with really nothing challenging that $2 area recently. The last time we kind of even came close to $2 was around, let's just say 1140, when we got into 190. So I feel this one's setting up. It's awfully bull flaggish. It's above all the moving averages that I want to base my trade on, but still getting no prints on this one. And now we're a little bit out of the money as it drops below 70 again. So we're going to pack our patience to see what we get with this one. But maybe we'll find out how it does when we get back from the big desk with Adair.
Keep an eye on UAVS here. This one currently halted, news pending, up about 5.25%. Not a ton of volume done so far today, 746,000 shares. I'm seeing a theoretical auction price of $2.3999, so roughly $2.40. In terms of details on this stock, this company is in the computer hardware space. They have a very small market cap, but $1.97 million, so just under $2 million market cap. A small float, 720,000 shares. 10% of that is going to be sold short, so 10%, roughly 10% short float on a float of 720,000 shares, and 65.4% of this company is insider owned. So huge percentage insider owned. Decent percentage short float, market cap under $2 million, and under 1 million share float for UAVS. I will let you guys know if I hear anything with regards to news on this ticker.
Appreciate that, Adara. Always bringing us the small cap gappers. Hard to keep your eye out on all of them.
Well, I know.
They just pop out of nowhere.
Boom, boom, boom. You're like, wow, this one's flying. That
Right?
one's flying. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with myself. You just got stuff
Yeah,
flying.
exactly, bro.
So
Like,
it's just get in, and set the stop, and that's it. So yeah, that's good stuff. Mike Herbert, thanks, brother. Yeah, good luck there on IBIT. I want to just show my entries here and why I wouldn't say I abandoned the thesis, but I was just like, okay, I don't want to continue trying something that may not work, considering it is in slightly of a downtrend. So we had entry 1, guys, took it off, and then entry 2, and then I was like, okay, you know what? It's not doing what I want it to do right now, so I'm not going to continue to try. I'm going to stick to something that was working for me, and that was the TQs. And I'm going to just show you how I just operated this trade here. So we were a little bit oversold, the short-term oversold here, I was thinking. So I took the long, got partial here, and then I looked to add on to this one. And then as I added, my average came up because I didn't have that much, so I took a stop, a break-even stop there. I then took another trade here, as you can see on this one. This was another entry. I was looking for the continuation to the northeast side, and then we took a small little stop out there as we breached this 74 level. But then again, I was like, okay, we're strong. I think that we were a little bit sold to, on a short-term perspective. So that's why I took that third entry, essentially, right? Is because my first entry worked. We looked for the ad for the continuation of the trend. It didn't work. Took the second entry, didn't work. But hey, we were profitable on the first one, so let's continue with what's working. And that's exactly what the TQs are doing. They're absolutely roaring to the top side now, Sharif. I think that some of the mags are starting to move. Google is moving a lot stronger, right? It's starting to recover, and that's a look that I kind of want to look at Google, is that these V-shaped patterns from a daily perspective, Sharif, I think you might like this one here. So as you can see, we have this V-shaped pattern, right? You can see it, consolidation, V, and then a consolidation. So let's take a look at this.
That's a daily?
Yeah, that's a daily.
That's interesting looking daily,
right?
Dude.
That's a daily one. But look what we did here on Tesla not too long ago before we broke out. Right? So consolidation, V, consolidation, massive breakout. So that is something that I am looking at with Google. Someone mentioned in the chat before, should I buy some Google calls? And I wasn't opposed to that. And I wasn't opposed to that for this specific reason. I remember talking this strategy with my good buddy Greg. And I was like, hey, dude, watch out for these V-shaped patterns. When you have a body of consolidation, you then get the liquidity grab to the downside, a thrust up, consolidate, and then you move, and then this thing absolutely broke out to the northeast side. And I'm thinking that's the thesis that I'm going to build with Google. You can see how identical the setups are. Guys, and if you're seeing this in the chat, if you're seeing what I'm seeing in the chat, mention it, because I think that these V-shapes are really, really good setups, brother. What do you got, shaking?
Absolutely. Well, I'm still in the same trades right now, but the OG Darwin letting me know that IonQ being mentioned on CNBS, and it's up 10.5%. It's not the cheapest small cap gapper we've seen, but it's awfully directional and seems to be quite respectful of some of these moving average. Let's do some charting over here. IONQ, let's look at the 5, and this is kind of what I mean by respectful of the moving averages. You get the first initial, I guess, bigger drop through the 10 exponential over here at 1205, but look at that closing print right up above there. And then this 3 candle hold up over here between 1245 and 1255, all of the closing prints hold up above the 10 exponential. You do wick below it though. 1473 HOD on IONQ. Let's do a 4-hour look here. Okay, so we're definitely near highs locally. Let's zoom out. Wow. Okay, here we go, man. Okay, so initial, we should be encountering resistance at 15. Look at the closing prints going all the way back to December of last year. That was the last time we were at 15 on IONQ. So if you're looking at the closing prints, it's in and around 15. Now, if you're gonna base it on the wicks, then you're looking at 1550, because on the 15th of December, we weaseled up into 1550. So good luck, man. IonQ, it has now made its way onto the side chart. Congratulations, IonQ. We're very proud of you. Let's keep an eye out on this one. If it wants to set up big boy, then we'll look to trade it. So here's the look. Now back to GNPX, man. I've been waiting here. I haven't been adding on the descents, quite frankly, because I have a bigger position and I don't want to add, but it's going to have to hold up. Now, what I do like about this, and there's not a whole lot that I like, is it's consistently giving you higher lows. How long does that hold up for, though? Now, we often talk about the higher lows and then we don't talk about the other side. Well, we're not necessarily getting higher highs, but what we do have is, let's call it, a general flat top in and around that 180. We know we've wicked through 180 before. I printed above 180, but the wicks only have taken us north of 180. None of the closing prints. And you often hear Neil say this. I don't know if Joe said this in the past. Closing prints matter, man. They do matter, especially when you look at the daily chart, because that is the committed money. That's the money that's hanging out overnight, all right? So we'll see what we get over here. Obviously, that doesn't apply my specific example to the intraday chart, but I still think that closing prints are what a lot of algos look for when they base their trades. So I'm looking right now for anything above that 180 area. Now, separately, WULF, very happy with this trade. I was able to basically almost get top wick there. Only reason I got it out there was to account for that initial top wick that we got originally, knowing we could probably get some resistance in and around that area, around 6 1/5. That 620 area is where I'm looking. Now, IVP is just not going my way. I can't seem to have success with this name. It keeps whiffling and waffling at around VWAP. It breaches and gets me excited. I could have been out of this, break even, and even with some profits, but I chose not to do that because that's not the look. The look is to try to execute to make money, not to break even. So I'm packing my patience on this, and if I get stopped out, that's the cost of doing business. Simple as that. So keeping an eye here on IVP, keeping an eye on Wolf. Donald John Pump is also working in its way into local highs. We were talking about this one getting into 6 1/5. It did get to 6 1/5, but look at that. It didn't give up the 10 exponential like that. So it's showing you its intention, its propensity to want to create higher lows. And that's what we're looking for here. We're trying to figure out the trend of this name. And Donald John Trump seems to be putting in a bit of an upward channel, knowing that at 31 2/3, we're likely to meet some resistance owing to the earlier price action there. So, yeah, I'm going to have to get out of IVP. I gave it room, and I did get out there. Yeah, so this one I did not do well on IVP. Sucks to be me. It was a smaller position, quite frankly, which is okay, but I'm still unhappy about how I executed on it, mainly because I kept insisting on staying in the trade, despite the fact that it was most of the time below VWAP. Sure, it had its little stints above VWAP, but that wasn't the look. Unless I didn't get rinsed on it, but yeah, you could say that. No, but seriously though, like this one gave me looks that it was going to take VWAP and it would just shut that idea off. And so I should have been able to discern that rather than insisting that I follow through with the trade. So we'll keep eyes on this one. We'll keep eyes on some others as well. Donald John Punk, says Ricardo. Ooh. However you feel, my man, just make sure that Streamlabs and Bears versus Bulls doesn't get upset with the words that you're using, but free speech to each their own. No judgments there, Joe. What are you looking at, my man?
I'm looking over here at iBid Sharif. I'm gonna take another stab at it, but you know what I'm gonna have to do to myself is I'm gonna have to just gotta play it both ways, right? This thing has been absolutely chewing me up. But we're gonna take one more stab on it. We're gonna talk a little more Bitcoin right after we get back from Adara.
Keep an eye here on Top Golf Callaway MODG. This one getting its largest volume candle of the day by far. Sky News reporting here that Live Golf, which was funded in Saudi there, so Saudi funded Live Golf, apparently striking a deal for India now to tee off in India. So keep an eye here on GOLF and MODG. I have MODG up here with that volume spike as Sky News reports that Live Golf is now going to have some kind of deal here in India. Again, just seeing the headline here with this circulating around X. It's worth noting as well for MODG. This one has a market cap of just under $2 billion, $1.9 billion. Apparently, it's on the Russell 2000. We have a short float of 13.6%. So decent short float for MODG, getting that volume spike on this report of Live Golf at now apparently teeing off in India, guys.
All right, guys, keep it clean in the chat. All right, come on now. You know, we can all talk about a stock, right, without getting all polarized over here. Let's. Yeah, we're all adults. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
You know what, Sharif? I think that's it. That's the last time.
Why? What happened now?
I'm not trying this thing anymore. I told I'm not going to. It's not doing what I want it to do. So, guys,
respect that.
That's it, right? So that's all you got to do is just get out, and that's what I'm going to do. So, yeah, and as it continues to tank, yeah. So we don't want to even go 0 for on that one, brother. So we're not going to mess around with this one anymore. What do you got cooking over there?
I'm keeping my eye on GNPX here because, Joe, I saw a bit of a hammer candle go through the 20 and it got bought up quick as you like. And so what I'm trying to see here is, does this one give me that curl, you know, on that like back end, as Neil likes to say, giving you a couple of green candles to show you, yeah, you know, I'm holding up over here. To me, this seems like different stages of consolidation. You know what I mean? Like, since we got into the highs at $2, we kind of had this area of consolidation with, like, say, a buck and 2/3 to the low side and $2 to the high side. Then we dropped and we started using a buck and 2/3 to the high side and a buck and 1/3 to the low side. Now that's flipped again. Now we're using that buck and 2/3 to the low side, but this time it's a buck and 4/5, maybe 75, whatever, to the high side. So it's incrementally going through different ranges, and that's not what I want here. I'm looking for a breakout trade is above VWAP. I don't want to add on the dips anymore. I have a larger position that I don't want to add to. So we're going to have to pack our patience with GNPX. But Wolf, I only have a small piece left off that top. Look at that. It dips into the low 60s. I'm talking about GNPX, and then someone buying it aggressively, but not aggressive enough to make those new highs. Those new highs, to me, got to be above 85 pennies because we keep holding up locally anyway at 85 pennies. Initially, there was a seller at 75. I think we took him out. Maybe that seller's back because we had a two 1-minute candle hold up here at 75 again. So maybe the person getting short or taking profits at 75 has reinstituted their order. Hard to say. We'll see. But in the low 60s, low to mid 60s, somebody's buying this, and we're above VWAP, we're above the 10, we're above the 20. So I'm trying to put odds on my side here, but it's just not giving me the move. Now, let's look at what Donald John Trump is up to at the moment over here, because that one could be directional. 31.06. Now, it's off that 31.25. DJT is what I'm talking about, in case you are wondering who's Donald John Trump. There isn't a stock. Yeah, he's got DJT. And now we're seeing, let's call a spade, man. This looks like an upward trend. It's not the most vicious, and it's not the most, it's not the fastest upward trend, but we're getting sequentially higher lows and higher highs than the previous candle. It's just about where you weasel in. It looks as if the 10 and the 20 here have acted as backstops. Excuse me, breaching neither on a closing basis over here. Wicks only, up 5% DJT. So I'm going to pack my patience, see if there is a trade to be had here, maybe off 31 or so. But right now, I'm just going to manage the ones that I have in GNPX. And it looks like Wolf's coming back in for 6 again. Double top possibly on WULF here. Kind of almost the same level. 619 initially. And then what is this 2 candle hold up over here? 618 and 618. So 1 penny lower. Yeah, that usually is a bit of a interesting. We'll see. If it dips below 6, I think that might be a different trade on our hands. Maybe we'll be able to take it short or something, but that's a look there. Jason, Sharif, can you check the opening tap for KSCP? Absolutely. Don't have to ask me twice, especially because you were very polite. KSCP. $20.47 right now is the opening price, or the tap, the theoretical auction price. It halted at 46s. Let me bring it up on a trading screen over here. IonQ is going, guys, and apparently the OG Darwin said that they mentioned this one on CNBS. So KSCP, let's find out what this one does on the New York. Yes, it is. Halted currently right now, as you can see, tap. Okay, now the tap is showing me 22.47. It's moving crazy over here. What the hell? Okay, so this is moving big, Joe. This just popped up at 115, Joe. This was $15 and change. Wow. It's now halted at 2046. Here we go, 84%. What are the details? Nobody asked, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. KSCP, here we go. $62 million market cap. 890,000 shares traded on the day, just getting going. As you can kind of see, the volume just started coming in, Ram on this one. 105 million share float. And let's bring down trade ideas and find out what the short float is. KSCP, 13 2/3%. Good look. Good look. It's a decent amount short there that we can certainly use and see how we can bamboozle into this stock. So KSCP, leaving this one open. Right now, the top is showing me 1246. We are halted at 1246. So nothing doing there, Joe.
Yeah, good stuff there, brother. We had someone in the chat mentioned Windtree Therapeutics. So we'll take a look at that. So if I can get the Matumbo. No.
Finger wag?
No, the finger wag. Yeah, so I would avoid this one. There's a lot of other things that you can look around in this area, in this sector as well too. Windtree Therapeutics. There's nothing there that is intriguing to me. So yeah, exactly. So we'll just poke around. We don't really want to mess with this, guys. There's a lot of other stuff that we can mess around with. And you know what that is? That is BA, Sharif. BA is starting to curl to the top side here. Yeah, it's starting to curl around here. So we're in a little bit of size. We're going to see if we can continue up to 161. But you know what? We're a little bit late to the dance on that one, so that's okay. So we're going to have to hold our hands, pack our patience on this one. So maybe a little bit diamond hands on this while this one continues to work. But as you can see, price started to curl over a little bit, and then now we started to trade back towards the top side. But the overall market, Google is absolutely buzzing. Well, we wouldn't say buzzing, but it's trading really well. And if you look at the Google 5-minute and compare it to the Q's 5-minute, these things are trading in tandem. So that's a good stuff there. 163 on the so Adair's looking at
I was supposed to tell you that.
Yeah, she's looking at BA as well too. She had some really good levels this morning. She was talking about on Boeing. So that's a good look. By Adara there, rejected it hard earlier. Yeah, absolutely. Like it was a clean flush Adara after that. Right off of 163.50s, it was pretty much a clean flush down to view up on that one. So good look. So we'll see if we can start to recover a little bit. I read this morning that they signed a deal for some new freight liners with the Emiratis, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
they got a lot of money.
Yeah, they got a lot of money. I think they pre-ordered 5 of those.
Speaking of the Emiratis.
Yeah.
Ram just returned from the Middle East, the first thing that I said to her today, before being shocked that she came into work, was, Ram, did you bring Dubai chocolates?
Ooh.
And she answered in the affirmative, bro. And let me tell you, I was very happy.
So she said she affirmed.
Do you know about these Dubai chocolates?
No, I've never had
them. They're hot on TikTok right now. They're stuffed chocolates, different things. You can have stuffed pistachio. Do you know about some of the Middle Eastern, what's it called? Desserts. They're kind of very similar to like phyllo, the Greek desserts, like that you see. Yeah, it's called kanafa, and you can like actually stuff it with kanafa. Yes, man.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm so happy.
Habibi, come to Dubai. Habibi, come to Dubai. Yeah.
Good times, big guy. Good times.
No, I've never been there. So did you, Ram? Did you go to the Burj Khalifa too, or no?
Oh, she didn't go to.
She didn't go
Dubai.
there. Oh, okay.
She went to Saudi.
Oh, so
they got skyscrapers there as well.
Yeah, they got.
Ram,
right
were you in Riyadh? Yeah, she was in Riyadh.
She was there for the fight, so the fight season over there, and they love the fight
season.
Yeah,
you just know Riyadh because of Riyadh season.
Yeah,
I knew it. I knew it.
Exactly. So they're big fights there. So Riyadh season, they're just hosting left, right, and center. These guys are taking over. Yeah, repeat that one more time.
Yeah, say that again, Ram. She was near the stadium for the fight.
Nice.
And how was the atmosphere there, Ram? It's always lit.
It's always lit. Don't even ask. It's lit. Just know that it's lit. No, that's good stuff. I mean, these guys are absolutely taking over the game. They got Live Golf now and all those types of things. So I just need them to come in, start buying every boxing organization so there isn't 50 champions in each division.
Well said,
and then,
dude.
Yeah, so we can take it from there, guys. But you know what, Boeing's... Yeah, Boeing's starting to pull back in a little bit, guys. We don't have much room left in this year, but we're going to talk some more stock when we get back from Adara.
Here we are going to do our afternoon segment here on the U.S. dollar, and we're going to talk a little bit more as well about some other U.S. economy things to note that kind of happened over the weekend. Before we get to that, make sure to vote for any tickers that you're looking for. We have about 20 minutes left to do so. The voting will close at 1:50 p.m., and you have to be a subscriber to vote. Just go in the chat, !join, space, $, and your ticker of choice. The top 5 tickers will be looked at by Sean and Neil, with commentary from Sharif throughout the whole segment from 2 p.m. to around 2:20 p.m. So make sure you get your votes in and get your voice heard. Nice little bullish engulfing candle here on the DXY. Stronger here than we saw earlier today on this daily candle. But we're going to look less at the chart here and more about some of the facts here we did have. Going back to Friday at 4 p.m., we had the budget deficit announced for fiscal 2024. This came above $1.8 trillion, this deficit. This is actually more than 8% increase in terms of this deficit on a year-over-year basis. And it's the third highest deficit on record. This is coming from the Treasury Department. This, basically the only years that the U.S. has seen a significant deficit beyond this were 2020 and 2021. And that was when we had what was happening here in the pandemic. So it's really worth noting the significance of this deficit in context, especially given the fact that we got this basically right after the close on Friday. It's also worth noting we had a big, decent increase here on the yield in the 10-year Treasury. As of this morning, it was around 4.172%. So increases here in Treasuries. We also have to keep an eye on Fed speaking in terms of things that could be moving that U.S. economy. Fed's Kashkari began speaking at 1 p.m. I haven't seen anything market moving or any quotes coming from him as of yet, though we'll keep an eye out. We also have Fed Schmidt at 5:05 p.m. today, then Fed's daily at 6:40. So some Fed speakers on watch. It is once again going to be a bit of a lighter week when it comes to economic data. Then we will be getting the Michigan consumer sentiment data coming through on Friday, the final print for the month of October. As of right now, though, really worth noting the extent of that deficit. Keep an eye on that, guys.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Adara. Sounds good, Joe. Look, I've been nursing this GNPX trade for a while. I'm starting to run out of patience with it because we keep getting into that 75 penny area, and the thing is, it's just not the right time to get out of it because it's still above the moving averages that I like. It's still above VWAP. I just think there is going to be bamboozlement on this one, and before it ends up moving in the direction of the trend, which is obviously up today. I've tried to account for that by placing my stops strategically. You never really know whether or not you're going to get stop hunted or not. I'm using a script stop, just so you understand what that is. Those stops sit on our servers. So if you're of the opinion that, you know, the market makers stop hunt you because they can have level 3 and they can see where your stops are, this, that, and the other, whatever other, you know, theory there is, in practice, they shouldn't be able to see my stops because they're sitting on our servers over here. So we'll see. We'll see whether or not I can print on this one. It's showing me what I like, but I know for a fact that there's aggressive selling the other way as well to the downside because I'm obviously looking long. It's just about who overwhelms who. Do the buyers overwhelm sellers or sellers overwhelm buyers? And does it happen before the bamboozlement, or is there going to be bamboozlement prior to that? And that's the issue. So I'm holding on to this, bit of a bigger position for me. We'll see what comes of this, but yeah, I like where it's at right now. Just unsure of whether or not there's going to be some bamboozlement. Wolf is beautiful. Wolf is really doing well today, and I'm probably going to jinx it by saying that, but like, I mean, look at this. This is kind of what you look for, holding up at the right moving averages. You doesn't breach too far down, even when it breaches the moving average. Awfully respectful of the 10 and the 20. The deeper retracements, as we've often said, get into the 20. The more shallow come into the 10. It's holding up at the 10 right now at around $6. So we'll see if this one wants to continue to move forward. I'm still holding a little piece of that. So we'll see what we get there. Big Kyle.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you. I said there's a special somebody looking for you in the chat. Sure.
I got Sudafed too, man. I got lots of Sudafed in my pocket. I brought some Tylenol cold and sinus. Shout out to Adara, who's been suffering from the same thing too.
Dosed up.
Yeah, man. Dude, I came ready today. I came ready. And then we got to pay some bills, Joe. So let's get this one set up. Is it right now, Ram? All right, let's do this. Okay. If you want to trade smarter and not harder, then you should upgrade to the elite trading experience. I'm talking about eSignal, guys. You can analyze, you can strategize, and you'll be able to capitalize by foreseeing those profitable opportunities with the platform that you need. You get infinite data, you get instant trading, and you're able to know where the market is moving before others, with that lightning fast execution and data. It's got charts to change the game as well. You can customize and analyze the market in your way and faster. You also get better backtesting and better scanners. You can predict the future by understanding the past. We all know that backtesting is the key to having that solid trading plan. You also get reliable real-time data, up to the second market information from hundreds of global markets. It's everything you need all in one place, so don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. If you're ready to elevate your trading, then go onto the screen right there, scan the QR code on the bottom right, or click the link in the description of this video to get started. So good look there. All right, GNPX is breaking down now, though, into that 160 area, and it's done this before, where it's wick below 160 and then got bought up quick as you like. So I'm gonna pack my patience here. Joe, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking here on BA. I took a second entry here on BA, Sharif. We're going to see if we can continue to the top side here. I'm a little bit long biased on this because of the catalyst that we had, but we're not going to fight it. We did start to slowly curl over a little bit, so I'm just going to hold it. If we break this low here, if we break 160 and or 159.90s, which it looks like we're about to right now, then I'm going to have to get out of this thing. So that's going to be the case with BA. Unfortunately, it's not working the way that I would have liked it to, but that's okay. So we're gonna get out of this thing, right? So there's no point in us holding on to this anymore. We took 2 stabs at it. We followed our plans. It's not working, so that's it. So yeah, I mean, Kyle Burdett, eastbound and down. Yeah, that's a great show. We'll see if we're gonna go after that earnings seasons. I mean, we have good forecasts, and the overall market is strong. We're starting to cut rates as well too. So I think the Fed is probably going to do a pause at the next meeting, which I believe is in November, if I stand corrected. Am I right? The next Fed meeting in November? So yeah, we got that in November. I think they go with a pause there. I don't think they're going to cut right now. So we're going to hold on to that. And I mean, eastbound and down, or maybe eastbound and up. So we'll see. We'll see. Northeast is the direction that we want to go, guys. If not, then I mean, Kyle, you got that good SPY plan that you have cooked up with the potential of the calls or something like that.
I did.
Doing some call credit spreads, then I think you'll be okay. But guys, I just want to point something out here and how Google and the Qs are trading pretty much in tandem here. And like the trading, like look at you can tell by just the charts. So just look at Google's chart, intraday 5-minute chart, and then we're gonna look at the Qs. All right. It's essentially the same thing. Like you couldn't even tell that I changed the ticker. So those guys are moving in sympathy pretty much today. So when you're looking for something that's highly correlated, those 2 assets are definitely moving in the same direction and kind of doing the same thing. So that's a good look there on Google. I wish I got into some Google when everybody was chatting about it earlier. This would have been a really nice entry around 163.50s. That'd be really nice. But guys, we only got 20 minutes left. So if you have any options questions or anything going on, like what you guys are looking at, I would suggest holding off on options with Tesla and some other things that are reporting in the near future. But if you have other plans and ideas that are reflecting on options, then let me know. So there's a question here for you, Sharif. SMCI look like a long-term buy yet? I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. Well, let Sharif answer that one.
I don't know. Chart-wise, let's have a look.
Yeah.
I wouldn't personally buy that, but let's have a look. So this is the SMCI chart on the daily over here. All right, well, I don't know, man. We're still below the 50. We're still below the 200 on this. Let's look at the weekly. Not sure why it's not loading. It's going to take a sweet time to load. All right, well, from the weekly perspective, we'll have to wait a little bit over here, but The daily did not look that good because it was well below the 200 exponential and well below the 50 as well. I feel it did have a little bit of support, you know, at that 35 area. If it, dipped into 37. Only reason I was talking about 35 was these area tops over here. So a little bit hard to know. You know, it's riddled with issues right now with the investigation. I would say you're going to wait a little bit here to see exactly what you get with that, right? Hard to know with these bad boys. Now, I have a bit of an issue. I'm caught in a downhole here on GNXP, and this is not good. I tried to get out using the flatten key, and it didn't work. So sometimes you know you're not going to get filled there. So I tried to post an order, and then I went over to Neil, and didn't fill. I went over to Neil, and he explained kind of you either get filled or you don't. If you're not in top priority, you're not going to get filled there. So VWAP right now is at $1.37 for GNPX. Going to hold above there. I'm probably going to flatten out as soon as we get out anyway. But I'm caught in this down halt right now. The halt level 149 and the theoretical tap, the theoretical auction price, not looking good, $1.41. So definitely not as many buy orders as sell orders in GNPX, 260%. This one halted, I believe, at 139. Let me tell you exactly when this bad boy halted here. GNPX. The halt time was, just allow me a minute to load this one up, 139 and change. Just want to get the exact time because I can't see it on my platform over here, so we're just going to have to wait. 139.09. So that should be open. If it's going to be 5 minutes, 144.09. So we're at 143.19 now, so probably about a minute or so until it opens. But right now it is not. Well, now the tap is back up to 144. So we'll have to see how this one opens up. Bit of a tougher look here. Definitely should. I had my order just a skosh below this to account for that 150. I didn't imagine that the halt level was going to be at 149. Otherwise, I would have triggered for the sell. So that's something, you know, you just got to take these chances when you trade these small cap gappers. So there is an order out here to sell if it dips below 148. So we'll have to see where this one opens. Right now, the tap is 148. So we'll have to see if this one stops me out while it is open. Day trader cut. Kashkari, a rise in budget deficit would mean that on the margin, interest rates would be higher. Here we go again. Sorry, I got to focus on this now as GMPX is back above 150. So I'm just going to pack my patience here. If it breaks through that level that I earmarked, then I'm going to flatten out here. Let's see if it wants to gain that level. It's still above the volume weighted average price. So I'm just going to see exactly whether it wants to break through that 145. If it does break through that 145, then I'm gonzino. But if it wants to hold this level and work back up, I'm just going to stay into it. Adair's at the big desk. What do you got, Adair? Let's go.
Keep an eye here on Tutor Perini. TPC is the name of this company. We are up about 10% right now. Market cap about $1.54 billion. So not particularly small, but definitely about small to mid cap here, $1.54 billion. And we have a short float of about 4.4% here for Tutor Perini. They work in the engineering construction space. This morning, they did withdraw their EPS guidance, and they said they actually expect to report a loss here due to some construction operations and negative earnings per share for their fiscal Q3. However, they did say they've made, quote, considerable progress with regards to resolving some disputes. And they said they actually do expect to return to profitability in the next fiscal year. So TPC, I was seeing a bit of a volume spike. From what I'm seeing, though, they're still below 1 million shares traded on the day. But be aware, this one continuing to push higher during the midday session. It is also worth noting, as Sharif just mentioned there, we do have comments from Fed's Kashkari. He was supposed to have started speaking at 1 p.m., but just seeing the comments start through now, saying that a rise in budget deficits would mean that the margin interest rates would be higher. We know that we did have one of the largest deficits on record here for fiscal 2024. He also, interestingly enough, mentioned crypto, saying, quote, very few transactions happen on crypto unless it's drugs or illegal activity. So interesting notes there coming from the crypto space from Kashkari. Worth keeping an eye on that. Guys, make sure you vote for your tickers of choice. You have 4 minutes left.
Hold on. What did he say about crypto? He said
very few transactions happen on crypto unless it's drugs or illegal.
Really? I don't like those kind of statements where it's like very few transactions happens on crypto unless it's drugs or illegal activity.
Yeah, like come on, like
I don't know
about.
Well, I think it presents an existential threat to their way of basically, controlling the money supply, which is obviously to use their fiat currency. So I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about these Fed. Do they genuinely feel that way, or is it just?
I think they do. I think they genuinely feel that way, right? They stuck to the fiat currency, right? Like Charlie Munger.
Yeah.
He didn't.
No, he didn't.
Those guys don't. Those older guys don't like.
Some guys have come around though.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
Larry Fink.
Yeah, Larry.
Well, hated BlackRock guy. Just thought crypto was trash. I mean, any older interview of his on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just pooping all over it. Now all of a sudden he's like, I was wrong. He admitted.
I mean, Steve Weiss, CNBC.
Yep, of course.
He's
Curly-haired
like,
guy.
yeah. He's like, I don't really believe in it, but if everybody else does, then what does it matter, right?
Right.
Like, as long as it makes money. So, yeah, good stuff there, guys. I got a couple questions in the chat relating to options. But Nadia, thank you so much. That means a lot. Yeah, Nadia, I can't say you leave me speechless. I'm lost of words there. So why hold off on options before earnings? Ron, I don't necessarily mean that. For me, I'm a credit spread trader, so sorry if it came across as like saying don't trade them. But from a credit spread standpoint, you don't want to catch volatility when it's low and then on the rise, right? So that's a credit spread trading kind of bias I have. But when you're buying flat out puts and calls, it's always good to buy when volatility is low and then on the way up. So I'm not saying don't flat out buy them. Just be careful about what strategies you're implementing on that one. Man. So yeah, so Hurry, can you name best book for options trading? Yeah, so if you're just getting into options, you can start with Options for Dummies. I've read that book. Is absolutely fantastic. They're like textbooks. They give you the really good lowdown and some strategies. And then you can go into Freeman Publications where they start diving more into specific strategies and the use cases of them. So, and then JK Joe, I have December Tesla calls at a 60% loss. Hold or get out. So it sounds like you're a little bit out the money there. So I don't know if you've sold any calls against that position, but hold off on selling the calls before the earnings announcements. Then assess your position after that. If Tesla decides it wants to pump on the earnings announcement, then you could be sitting in a better position. If it decides to dump, then you can catch volatility when it's high and you can sell some premium on that to mitigate the risk a little bit. But if you get anything more below 60 or 70%, I would look to maybe might have to just cut your losses on that one, brother, and then reassess, and then get back in at a better price or something like that, brother. What do you got going on?
I'm reading Big Spile's comment. He's like, I like this. I mean, I know you're being serious, but what are you buying with crypto? I mean, come on. He's saying the quiet part out loud. No, you're right. I mean, I don't know too many people going in with their phone and buying something at point of sale with crypto. I know that.
Yeah,
that's not happening yet, Joe.
I mean, well,
yet is the operative word here. I remember that.
You bought pizza. So, I mean, there's like the toast thing, I think maybe businesses will start slowly implementing this as another method of payment.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if it's worth something and it holds its value, then why aren't you going to accept it?
Yeah. The only argument against that as being a payment system, a method of payment, is the volatility. But does it have to remain this volatile in the future? I don't know if that's the case,
that's
right?
A great question.
So we'll wait and see. I mean, I personally don't have any problem with it, nor do I have any skin in the game. I don't own anything crypto related, so I have no conflict of interest when I say this. But I genuinely believe this thing is going higher, and it's going to continue to go higher because I think that people have just had kind of up to here with these central banks holding a monopoly on fiat currency and the manipulation that can happen with printing more money and the devaluation that comes with that. If you don't believe me, just ask Egypt, just ask Argentina, just ask Turkey. Those people saw fundamental changes in their wealth because the government had to go on a printing spree. I mean, I know Argentina's recovered a little bit. Turkey had some fantastic numbers this year, but there was a whole lot of pain before things got better. So I don't know. I think it presents an alternative method, and whether it ends up being a payment system or an investment you hold on to, who knows? Who knows, bro? I'm not clairvoyant. But
they say you don't sell your Bitcoin, right? You just hold on to it.
Yeah.
One thing that's kind of frustrating me, too, I'll let you get to what you're getting at, is that TD Bank is really starting to frustrate me because I can't go to any ATM once the branch is closed. So once they're closed, yeah. So now what? So why do I have to pay an extra $3 to go to a different ATM or drive somewhere where they have
exactly?
Right?
So there you go. They're rinsing you on that, and that's how they make money.
That's it.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Rant
Look,
over.
Big Spa goes on to say, my bank ain't taking crypto. Someone pays me to pay my mortgage. Not yet, Big Spa. That's what I think you and I are fundamentally disagreeing. I don't think this kind of stuff happens overnight. Maybe it doesn't happen at all. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But to me, it seems like a good alternative so far. And again, guys, yeah, greater fool's theory at play here, but so was greater fool's theory when we invented fiat currency. What's going on over there, Katina, man? He's NVIDIA. It's top of the day. Top of the day to you. No, top of the morning to you. Top of the afternoon to you. 142, guys, is what I'm saying right now on NVDA. Is this all-time highs?
Yes, sir. 142
ATH, all-time highs for the monster NVIDIA. It's up another light 2.89% today. It's when we're at literally what the high of the day right now. We're fighting. We haven't printed any pennies above that whole dollar level, 142. But as you can see there, there's a whole lot of chop and churn right now happening between buyers and sellers at this level. Let's go and have a look at the level 2 on NVDA because it's chopping and churning, baby. NVIDIA, there we go. It just took it out, Katina, man. 149.19, all-time highs. It's zigging and zagging with 142 right now. I know a bunch of traders on the floor had this in the morning. Katina, man, and the Neil, one of them as well. Shout out to all of them. They all did very well on it. It's up 3% today. Who can complain with this, Joe? It keeps going higher. The analysts keep saying it's too expensive, and people keep buying. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. Fantastic look today for NVIDIA. And a good day for some of these Mag 7 names, Katina, man, not all of them. I mean, Microsoft and Meta, Amazon and Tesla, all negative, but you got the likes of Google, Apple, and NVIDIA green. If you want to include Netflix in that bunch as well. Netflix at all-time highs. It'll be at $800. You feel quick as you like. But, yeah. 7 minutes left on the show, brother. What are you looking at?
Yeah, that's it. I got some people asking me to look at some things for them, so we'll dive right into that. We got AMD. Someone asked me in the chat, Joe, can you look at AMD and Meta? Absolutely. I would love to look at AMD and Meta for you. And most in particular is AMD. So hopefully we can hold this 150, 157 level and not head any more south, all right? So if we can bounce off here and then continue to the north side, that is something that I am particularly looking at. I am mitigating, I'm hedging a position that I have on these guys, so any north side movement is good for me. And then now we'll take a look at Meta. Let's see what Meta is doing. I mean, this thing's been an absolute monster since the release of the Orion glasses. Yeah, it's starting to pull back here, rightfully so. After we had this triple top almost here, it's starting to pull back a little bit. So let's see if it can pull back into 540s, into the 540 level, and then maybe continue to the north side. So, I mean, these are stocks that you definitely want to own, Meta being one of them. So that might be one that Sharif might have pointed out too, that we might want to see a split in the near future. I think if it gets any higher, going up in towards the 7s, then we might see a split on that one. And then someone in the chat said, Joe, I have some GE calls. Should I hold them for their report tomorrow? I mean, if you want to own anything, like look at this company for the past couple of years. It's just been absolutely amazing. This is what you want to see. It's kind of like Walmart and Costco. This is an absolute amazing company. These guys got their toes dipped in a lot of different things. So if you want to hold them through their earnings report, that's totally up to you. Like how much intrinsic value do your contracts have, right? Like how much in the money are they? Are they really in the money? And do you have a lot of time until expiration just in case you do get a gap down when the report comes out and it works against you? And then that way you can kind of hedge your position and not be too worried about timelines or anything like that. But GE, Meta, and AMD, these are things that I really like. So good luck there. Look at this consolidation here on GE. Just trading in this 170 to 154 range and then takes an absolute another leg up. This was just a complete liquidity grab here, as you can see, and then it just continued to the northeast side there. So that's a good look there. Congratulations on your GE calls. I know you're doing good, especially if you've been having them and you did kind of like a leap on these, because General Electric is an amazing company. And I kept my eye on them. I'm like, wow, these guys are just always consistently trending up. They're always doing something right. So this is a good company. You're headed in the right direction there for sure, brother. What do you got going on?
I'm still keeping an eye here on GNXP. It keeps defending that 50 penny area. I'm going to have to flatten this one out as I'm going to have to get up soon. But this one, I'm just really unsure about whether this one holds up. It wasn't even weak enough to get into that 140 level, which is where VWAP is. So it's still above VWAP, but it's below the 10, below the 20. It worked its way up into 165 and then met with a wall of selling. Unsurprised with that because we were kind of using 165 as support earlier. So it's been respectful of the TA today. If you were able to gauge support and resistance levels and disciplined enough to get in at those levels, I think you've done well. I didn't do that, and so I was made to pay. So we're out of the money right now on this one, but I want to leave my original stop in place for GNPX. We'll keep an eye on this one. But I want to let you guys know there's another one moving here, and this could be an interesting short. NITO. So we got this one during the midday, popped up to 51 pennies, and it literally lost half its value by dropping all the way down to 27. But look at this, mother of all rounded bottoms over here, and now it's coming back right into that volume weighted average price of around 38 pennies. It does have some resistance at 39, but I'd be more inclined to base my trade off the volume weighted average price. This looks like it could be an interesting short if it rejects VWAP. Right? I always talk about how I don't take these long south of VWAP and short north of VWAP. Well, this one is below it. Now, if it gets into that technical level, if you're able to get shorts on that, you know, you could risk a decent amount here, maybe to the top of this candle over here at around 42 pennies, knowing that you could get at least about 10 pennies or so, if not more, if it does dip down at least into that local low. It did find a whole bunch of buying at 27 pennies. It wasn't able to print anything below that. So that was a good hold up there. And there was a lot of shares changing hands there. So we'll see with this one. Nothing that I want to get involved in right now, but NITO presenting you with an opportunity. WULF has been very respectful of $6 on the day. I'm not going to hold this one for any longer. It's not really at the highs, but it's been very good as an intraday trade. I'm leaving this one on the side chart for tomorrow. I want to see if this one's going to have a day two. Reason is, well, look, it's not given much in the way back. I'm sure, you know, it may give some back later in the trading day, but again, it's not a big percentage mover, so it looked as if it was kind of, you know, a sustainable move up, only 16% on the day. This one could run in tomorrow again, so be on the lookout for WULF. Definitely didn't give much back in the way today and was much less of a bamboozler than all these other small cap gapper style stocks. Donald John Trump just dipped in from that 31 to third all the way back into 30.50. So you should have been ready for that smoke. My God, you lost 90 pennies quick as you like. But look at this. The closing print at VWAP and the subsequent candle also holding up with VWAP. So I don't know. Could be an interesting trade right now on DJT at the volume weighted average price. It was awfully respectful of that upward channel that was putting in essentially since making the low of the day there at 11.05. So DJT also in focus today. We'll keep an eye out on that one. With respect to big tech, well, you saw live and living color, NVIDIA, all-time highs, 142.44. Never been a higher setup. It's a blue sky setup. Shout out to the Katina man. I know Neil had that trade too. Shout out to both of them. AAPL, look at this. It just printed day's high, 236.85. This thing has an all-time high of 237 and change, but if it closes anywhere around here, this is going to be an all-time high close, and I'm now overtime, Joe, as it is past 2 o'clock.
Wow,
so any final thoughts, brother?
No, time flies. We got a lot of love in the chat, Sharif, so everyone showing love in the chat. Thank you, Matt Florence. We'll talk some options tomorrow. Sorry we couldn't get to your question, but what a banger of a day.
Absolutely, guys. All right, Joe and I will see you guys same time, same bat channel. From tomorrow, Ram, send it over to the big kahunas. There we go.
Thank you very much, Sharif and Joe on the afternoon show. We're back. You're right. It's not technically an all-time high in Apple. I probably said it wrong this morning because all-time